Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello,
oh
balls
gosh.
and ballers.
So true. I am so excited. Hi, I'm Hallow. I'm here with Skarme.
Hi.
And we
very
are
excited.
going to be casting the finals of the first, official season of Beastieball PvP Draft League. Gosh, I'm so excited. Really excited.
It's been a long time in the making.
It's been a long time in the making. We had a whole pilot season, so if you were here for those finals a few months ago, you already know what's up. If you don't, let's explain briefly what Beastieball Draft League is. I'm gonna assume that everyone here knows what Beastieball is. If you don't, what if a creature collector game was volleyball? Anyway, so Draft League.
It is on sale right now on Steam.
It's on sale right now on Steam. Go buy it. 15% off. 21 US dollars. Extremely worth your time. 90% of the chatters in here have hundreds of hours in this game. Anyway. So, Draft League is a PvP format wherein at the start of the season, basically a whole bunch of players get together and select from the pool of available beasties a team of 7 or 8. And from there, they play we played a whole 10-week regular season and 2 rounds of playoffs before this one, wherein you're taking your roster of beasties, again 7 or 8, and building a team of 5 to face off against an opponent each week. Basically meaning you are trying to outpredict what your opponent is going to bring and then beat them in the match, as well as, the team builder. I'm explaining this incredibly poorly, but hopefully I'm making some sense.
Basically, there's a pool of beasties. You can't freely team build. You got to pick from the pool.
Yes. So, each player every week will play a match against someone else and build a team from their pool of beasties to specifically counter their opponent's pool of beasties. And we've had, again, a whole 10-week regular season, 2 weeks of playoffs so far, and this is the very final match of the season. We're going to be playing a best of 5. The format is 3-point undos on extended time limit. So players have a lot of time to think about their decisions because they've spent basically the entire week preparing their team for this match that we're about to watch.
Do you want to explain what's a bit different from the pilot season, which is the reason why both players today might be bringing Wottle?
Yes. So
there were 2 pools.
There are in fact 3 divisions in the league. One of them is a slightly more casual division, Neural Net, which is still going through their playoffs just because of some scheduling issues. This is the finals of the combined Galaxy Brain and Mind Read divisions. So there were 2 separate draft pools. Everyone in each of those draft pools played everyone else in the pool. And then there were a few matches across pools, and then finals were both divisions brought together.
So it wasn't guaranteed that we'd get one from Galaxy Brain and one from Mind Read, but it just happened to work out that these 2 players are from different pools.
As chat is pointing out,
so they both have Wottle.
Both of them have Wottle. But we'll get to that in a bit. Oh man. It's been many months in the making. This league started, we started the draft over 3 months ago in early September. Basically right at the start of the September milestone update. Worth noting, we are remaining on the September milestone update. So despite the fact that the next milestone update is now out, because of the balance of the draft and the tiering of beasties, players only had a certain number of points to pick from, and now beasties might have changed. We are finishing up the league on the same patch. So any new experimental changes we won't be seeing yet. So that players can play with their teams.
No weeping, no crying until the end.
At their full strength. Sorry, what were you saying?
No weeping until the end.
No weeping until the end. We can cry when it's over.
That's right.
And in the meantime, we can rejoice in it happening. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple brief interviews with each coach before we get started with the match. But let's just briefly talk about what happened this season. So, across the course of the season, there were some players which definitely stood out as being really far ahead of a lot of the rest of the league. 3 coaches made it to 9-1. The top rank of which was Dino, who was knocked out in quarterfinals. Second rank was Zonk, who was knocked out in semifinals. And third rank is, in fact, Choc, who is right here in the finals, and we're going to talk to him momentarily. He only lost 1 match all season. I really should keep in mind who it was. Choc lost 1 match all season, and that was to Balamar. He was the only player to take a set off of Dino in the regular season. Just overall, a really dominant performance across the board, and he has not slowed down in playoffs. Igor, on the other hand, had a bit more of a rough season, going 6-4, but still qualified for playoffs with the 5th seed. Started out losing 2 games, but won a whole bunch in a row in the middle of the season to, again, make it up to 6-4 and qualify for playoffs. These 2 have both had pretty strong playoff runs. Choc beat King of Charge in quarterfinals and Zonk in semifinals, 2-0 both of those. Igor in quarterfinals beat the Wacky Worms 2-1 and triumphed over me actually in semifinals, again 2-1. So they've both fought really hard to get here, overcome some super big names in Beastieball PvP, and I'm also there, I guess. And I mean, this is what it all comes down to. The winner of this match tonight takes it all home, gets all of the bragging rights. Let me just make sure I get the correct person back on screen in a moment for the future. But either way, we have an interview with Choc coming up right now. So let's go see what he has to say about this matchup.
Hello.
Hello, hello. So we're here. It's the finals. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you very much.
So we have a few interview questions just to sort of get into how your season has gone. But let's just start off real simple. How did you get started with Beastieball PvP? Like, what's your history?
I'm glad you asked. I had some friends, notably Saberwolf and Bullerex in the Discord, if you ever see him around, who played the game. And I knew that it was a game in development, and I've always been kind of hesitant to get into games in development, but they're like, no, all the content's out, it's a good game, and we're going to be playing it for a while. I'm like, all right, sure, let me look up some PvP content. And first thing I see on YouTube is a video by someone named Hollow, who posted their Beastieball Draft League season of the pilot season, and I thought it was really cool.
I did do that.
And then I did find a couple of other videos from a Heatwave as well, but the Draft League is actually my first taste of PvP looking at the game, which is really funny because I wasn't thinking I was really going to get into Draft League when I first got into it. I was like more trying to get into the general PvP scene, but then when Draft League came out with the Season 1, I got really excited. I got way more into it than I thought I would. Spent tons and tons of time thinking about teams, and yeah, here we are, I guess.
Yeah, so it sounds like you answered our next question, which was what have you enjoyed about Draft League already?
Yeah. So, it's just a lot of fun. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, always glad to hear that. Draft is like my favorite PvP format for any game that it works in. Choc's team, for people who don't know, features Wottle, Zefyre, Demolipede, Maraptor, Duggout, Musselbound, and Tortanchor. Was that your team the entire season?
It was not. I had a Surgus and a Supilero, whom Igor also has. Spoilers, I guess. But I ended up dropping them both when Dino released Musselbound, and I immediately scooped that up because I'd been eyeing it for a while, and that gave me a free extra point. So I was trying to figure out what I'd want to maybe trade, and I was looking at Maraptor for a while, so I dropped Supilero for Maraptor after dropping Surgus for Musselbound, where Musselbound ended up being not so useful on my team, and Maraptor has been a huge boost.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, on that note, among the beasties that have been on your team the entire season, I know you have a bunch of favorites. Which one do you think has been your real, just biggest MVP?
It's the Hog. It's the Hog. Duggout. It's so funny. I drafted Duggout because Reverie was my match 1, and they had like a sweaty Dread team, and I was on my 5th pick, and I was like, okay, I don't really know what to fill out this team with at this point. Let me just pick something to counter the sweat Dread that I'm gonna have to fight, and then I can just engage the trade system and give Hog away round 2, and then that's that. Everyone wants a Hog, so I can give it away. And nobody wanted Hog, so I just kind of stuck with it reluctantly, and I quickly found that it was secretly the best beastie on my team, bar none. It's been carrying me. It's insane, and I'm so glad I've had it the whole time.
Glad to hear it. Do you have like a favorite moment or a favorite match from the season? Like regular season and playoffs, obviously not including this one.
Yeah, I think the one that sticks out the most is Arctech. Against Arctech, I used Tortanchor with Drum, not Shanty, the play Drum, because Arctech had a Mystic, and I noticed that Arctech did not have a Clearfield Beastie on his team at all. So I was trying to think of ways to play around this, and I was like, well, if I'm on counter serve, I can probably get Drum up guaranteed, and then as long as I manage Drum the whole game, the Mystic can't hurt me. And I mean, it turns out Nerve Strike Provoke still does a ton of damage, but it worked really, really well, and I was able to keep that strategy going, and it was just like, I don't know, I was able to get the Tort in every single turn I needed it to get the Drum in, like on the exact turn the Drum went down, and it just worked out so well.
Yeah, and I mean, quick plug, you also recorded a whole bunch of your perspectives from the tournament. Was it every single week? I think it might have been every single week.
It was every single week.
So,
starting from the second week was when I did my voice recordings. Yeah. The first week was just a dry recording.
So viewers after this stream will be able to go check that out. And if you're on YouTube, I'll leave a link in the description to that. And I guess one last question. We're not going to ask you about your team yet, because that's a secret, but is there something you're expecting Igor to bring?
I am expecting very, very much the Diablo, which I think is the biggest kryptonite to my team. However, there is secretly one bigger kryptonite. It is not a beastie. It is one single play on Igor's team on one single beastie. I don't think it's something he's brought all season, and I don't know if he spotted it and why it works into my team. But it really does, and I hope it's not there.
Okay. We won't ask, but maybe we'll find out. So yeah, thank you so much for chatting, and I'll let you go get your recording started, and
thanks.
We'll see you in a bit for the match.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thanks for hosting.
Of course. All right, and next up we have Igor, the other side of this match, who will be joining very shortly. Hello, Igor, and congratulations on making finals.
Hello, thank you so much.
Okay. So,
I'm very excited to be in the finals. Oh, I didn't think I'd actually get this far.
Yeah, I mean, Choc was saying basically the same thing, like he wasn't expecting to get into it this much, and then now he's here. Let's start off with a real easy question. What's your history with Beastieball PvP? How'd you get into it?
Oh, I started Beastieball PvP all the way in the very first Big Moon Bash of the game. And from there, I participated in many other tournaments, heat ups, the heat waves, one random team tournament, and it's been an amazing experience. A big thanks to the community for being extremely kind and helpful. I learned a lot from them and from all the matches I have played thus far, and everything helped shape the Beastieball coach I am today.
I mean, I think it's been just as delightful seeing you attend all these events and like develop as a player.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting this really impressive run in Draft League now.
Yeah. So I guess on the topic of Draft League, what specifically drew you to Draft League, and like what have you enjoyed about it?
Oh, I have participated in another draft league, but it was for Pokemon. I say, oh, a Beastieball draft league, that would be interesting. And I've been I really enjoy the format. All the critical thinking you have to do before a match, and all the thinking you had to do during the draft as well, has been a lot of fun. I really like this aspect of draft league.
Yeah, I've definitely found that, like, I have as much fun preparing a team as I do actually playing the match, because it's just, there's so much to think about every single week.
There's so much work that's gone into building these teams.
Yes. So on that note, let's talk about your team. You have Supilero, Wottle, Daredillo, Bongus, Bandicraft, Diabloceras, Squimage, and Webbounce. It was that way, I believe, pretty much the entire season, bar us trading Hopra for Bandicraft, like, immediately after the draft, correct?
Yeah,
Like,
correct.
You didn't change anything else about the team. So you basically had your team from week one and stuck with them, which, I mean, it shows how good it was, because now you're here in finals. But on that note, is there a particular beastie that you think has really just been, above all else, your MVP this season?
I think I am very split between Bongus and Daredillo, but I think I'll say Bongus because the BC is everything my team needs. It heals my team, it is a support. If I want, it can be offensive too. It just does everything my team might require.
Yeah, I mean, between Flow and Welcoming, it just has two fantastic options for either supporting or healing your bench off, and its value in draft really can't be understated. So I guess you've played, what, 12 matches this season? What do you think was your, like, favorite moment or favorite match from regular season, playoffs, whatever?
I think my favorite moment, I think it was week 1 against Saber Wolf, and I thought I was gonna lose that match. Saber had a +2 Psydusk and used perfect shot, and then I just swapped in Daredillo expecting to just lose, but no. Daredillo survived at 1 AGP from a +2 Psydusk perfect shot. From that moment, I knew that BC was gonna just be the GOAT of offense in my team.
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, one of your most valuable beasties of the season. So again, we'll put that down in the description, and after this, you can go watch that match. There's a whole spreadsheet basically with every single replay from the season that was recorded, and there's a lot of content to watch. But with that said, we need to get back to talking about the finals. So, obviously, you have some secrets as to your team build, which we'll all see in a few minutes. But is there something you think Choc is going to bring? Like something you're particularly worried about, or something you've prepared for?
I think Choc is going to bring the Duggout. I think it's one of his strongest beasties that he could bring against my team, considering Daredillo has not a very good spirit defense. But so I think just Duggout and maybe Zefyre, but I'm not so sure about Zefyre since I have a lot of body offense that I could or not use.
Yeah, so I assume that you have probably prepared for those eventualities, but with that said, we have a match to get to, so we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, very excited. Always good to talk to their players and hear their thought process before a match, which is not something you get to do very often.
The amount of thought that has gone into literally all of these matches, these seasons, across all of the divisions, really has been just insane, and it's hard to really get a window into it unless it's the handful of players who've been sort of consistently uploading their videos. Like Choc has done really high effort videos, and I really recommend those. But yeah, I am very excited for these.
Yeah, and I mean, all of those videos and everything, every single one of those matches, which everyone put so much thought into, I mean, it all comes down to this. Like, we're right here.
Absolutely.
We're ready to start finals. Choc will have a lobby up for us pretty soon. And we'll be following his perspective. This game doesn't have a spectator mode yet. We have not been promised one, but there's a chance it's a feature in the pipeline, so maybe.
Choc seems like he's good to go.
Yep. Let's hop in and see if we're ready to go. All right, we have a lobby open. We'll just wait until Igor comes and fills it up, so that no one can snipe the lobby code for obvious reasons. Great. Something to note, since Choc was the higher seed, he was allowed to choose who got serve in the first game. Choc has elected to counter serve, meaning Igor will be serving game one, and both players knew this going into the match, so they could account for it in team building. All right, but looks like
Wottle counter serve is already pretty infamous, and I'm not necessarily surprised if they happen to both bring Wottle.
All right,
that one of them wanted to poach that first.
But yeah, I mean, with everything said, we are ready to go. Hopping right into this game, we see Igor with the Squimage, Bandicraft, Wottle, Daredillo, and Bongus. A bunch of MVPs. Choc here with the Demolipede and Tortanchor on lead. Wottle, Maraptor, and Duggout in the back.
Two very offensive teams right off the bat, and there's some of these beasties are often run as more defensive support builds, but in this case, like for both players, they've actually pumped a lot into the offense. I feel like it's going to be a question of who gets the momentum first.
Yeah, Choc's been running offensive Demolipede and
offensive Tortanchor or offensive Demolipede, and
I mean both.
Igor's side, yeah.
And Igor's been running the offensive Bandicraft like pretty much all season.
It does play really well into his like pivot friendly stuff, his quick tagging and his Daredillo acrobat moving.
For sure. Yeah, so we see the frazzle on counter serve from Choc, stressing out the Bandicraft so it has to switch out or become tired. The Demolipede is wall breaker, so it'll be able to lower the defenses of Igor's beasties if they stick on the field for too long, but and we also see it pushed forward here with Tortanchor's captain. On the other side, the Squimage, I believe, is Protean, if I saw correctly, and the Bandicraft is most likely full focus. Choc leading off with a Sidewinder.
Squimage is actually Mimicry.
Oh, it's Mimicry. So it has copied Wallbreaker.
That's right.
That's very fun. I totally missed that. So on serve, it lowered the defenses of one of these two, the Demolipede specifically. And now that the Demolipede's in the front row, it's going to take a lot of damage from this Spitball.
It has Spitball and it has Roll Shot from the Bandicraft.
Which is really cool. That's such an interesting build.
Yeah, I know Igor has been wanting to find a use for Mimicry Squimage because it's like it seems naturally inconsistent, but because Squimage is an attacker and it's most likely to be in the front close to an attacker, it's a decent way to pick up a lot of offensive traits. And in this case, like stealing Wall Breaker to turn anything it has into a pretty sizable serve.
Yeah, I mean, Igor already in a little bit of a rough position on this first point, though. The Bandicraft obviously stuck in the back because Frazzle meant that someone had to walk forward. And, I mean, this Maraptor is poised to do quite a lot of damage to this Squimage after it had its defenses lowered.
So this Raptor is roaring, so it's the only like direct form of redirection on these teams, I think, but at 41 health it's not necessarily going to be doing a great job of that without shield.
Yeah, but that said, I mean, if Choc predicts correctly here, Igor either has to switch out the Squimage or move one of these to the side. And it's a matter of, does Choc want to try and take the point here with, like, a free ball, like an attack into the empty lane?
He's going for the...
Does he want to hit the Squimage in case it doesn't switch out? And we see one of these move to the side, and if so, which is going to be the Squimage? Like, which of the Squimage and Bandicraft is going to move to the side? Choc gets it wrong, Igor gets it right, so the Squimage is now in the front row, and Bandicraft is no longer tired. With that said, this Maraptor does have shield, Choc clicking it immediately. So the noisy roaring will be very effective here in just making sure Igor can't really make all that much progress on this turn. We'll see what Igor comes up with here. We see the volley into Spitball. No support move coming out from either of these beasties.
No trait disruption.
So the Maraptor tanks that hit remarkably well due to feeling tough, and is able to just click Power Sap again. It'll feel noisy again, although I'm not sure that Choc entirely wants that. But poised to do quite a bit of damage here with Power Sap if it wants to and heal itself up a little bit, but Choc thinking about going for the Provoke here and preventing a potential demanding set from the Bandicraft instead.
So yeah, this Tortanchor is offensively invested, which is unusual, so we saw it doing a sizable amount on preview, but there goes the shield. And...
yeah, so Squimage very much able to just stay in and tank that.
In these damage races, often forcing yourself to shield first is pretty vital in these sort of offense versus offense matchups. So you see, Raptor has to leave now. It's very dicey to have that on the bench. It's not.
Yeah. Maraptor.
Igor clawing back some position here.
Yeah. Maraptor very much in need of tagging out if Choc doesn't want to lose a point, so I expect we'll probably see an attempted Torque pass from the Duggout into the Maraptor later in the game to start setting up that roaring in shield again. We see Callout clicked, potentially, if Choc decides to go with that, to boost the Wottle's defenses, which is fun after they just got lowered with Wall Breaker. So the Squimage threatened out here.
Wottle versus Wottle, there we go.
They're having a staring contest. Who will blink first? Wottle with Quickset here will be able to push that Bandicraft to the front row and make it jazzed. So that roll shot will do quite a chunk of damage to that Tortanchor if it isn't blocked. Which it can't be because it's roll shot, and roll shot can't be blocked. And I definitely remember that when I started the sentence.
Interesting to see the slight differences between the Wattles here. So Choc's has Clearfield, which is just all team healing. This is on the September milestone patch, so it heals up to 50 across your whole team, 10 for each. And Igor just has Deep Breath, so it heals the Wottle alone, but it heals a good chunk more.
Yeah, so I mean,
clearly cornerstones of this with their boosts and their ability to tag into the front.
Yeah, Igor's Wottle is going to have a lot easier of a time staying on the field itself, especially because it hasn't been wall broken yet. But Choc's, on the other hand, is going to be able to support the rest of the team a lot better. We could see a quick set super commit here doing a lot of damage, although Igor is set up to potentially double block and have whatever damage might come out. So it's a question of whether Choc wants to go for that damage and make the Dugout nervous with super commit, or
if Bandy gets hit into full focus range, that could be
pretty risky
dangerous.
Because then it's firing off a really boosted zigzag.
Oh, but he does some... I think double block isn't enough.
Double block won't let the Bandicraft survive, though. That is notable, yeah.
Oh, that thing... Oh, yeah, because it's an overworked Dugout, so it hits like a truck.
Yup. A lot of people like their unflappable Dugouts to reduce the passive chip damage from things, but I mean, in a matchup like this, where Igor doesn't really have very many beasties who rely on chip damage, overwork just means you can boost your damage so much. Yeah, Igor sacking the Squimage there, giving up the first point of the game, but that does mean the Squimage is now going to be back on full HP in just a couple turns. So a very strategic
when you
play.
have to sack a point with Wottle on the field, because Wottle's whole thing is it prefers to be the net, and you've got to spend another action getting it back up there now.
Yeah, but notably, Choc Dugout is not going to be nervous anymore after this serve, so it's going to be able to torch pass, assuming we don't see Daredillo come out and provoke it.
It has shield, not torch pass.
Oh, it doesn't have torch pass.
So it doesn't have torch pass, but is probably going to live because Igor does not have anything that can block that shield.
Yeah, so in that case, potentially likely to shield itself, live on low HP, and then use overwork to get itself down to 0 and then get that heal later. But yeah, I mean, without torch pass, that Maraptor is going to be stuck on the bench for a while.
Yeah, so like these are really like all-out offense, and that means if your bench gets messed up, that is pretty much the win condition. Because it's lacking a lot of ways to bounce back from that other than clear field, which is small individually.
Igor with the nice read there, correctly predicting that the Dugout wasn't going to go anywhere, and gets a point for it. So,
yeah, speaking of beasties that are unusual to see with offense investment, that Bongus is max body power. So with a D set, that bounce actually did a chunk, but now he's tired.
Yep. Bongus is ever so sleepy at the moment, and won't be able to attack this next turn, but I mean, Igor still has again, I believe, fully invested Bandicraft on the field, which can do a whole bunch of damage itself.
Sidewinder comes out again. It really is pretty chunky disruption from Wallbreaker in particular.
Yes.
Choc has been singing his praises about Wallbreaker recently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure he ran Watchtower all season.
But
and that's a free point. Igor gets that 50-50 wrong.
So it's game point for Choc already.
Yeah, real fast. So we see Choc serving, both Wattles on the field again. Igor walks his forward, and it's now, I believe, gonna be able to quick set this Daredillo. So a lot of potential damage coming out here.
Counter does not get powered up if you get T-balled in, which is notable, so it's not doing quite as much damage as it could. It's base 70. But I think Choc might have been banking on that because Wottle really has to get to the net on that counter serve turn if it wants to accomplish
Choc's
very
own
much.
Wottle can walk up safely here, but I'm not sure the Demolipede can stay in or not. I didn't quite see the calc. Yeah, I mean,
it can stay in because that counter is not a boosted.
I was just looking for the numbers. But yeah, we see the quick set. Igor setting up a potential double block again. But worth noting, Choc still has that sideways move on the field here, so doesn't look like a quick set into Demolish here is going to knock either of these beasties on the field out. But a Sidewinder into the back row is something that Igor really needs to respect here. So I'm expecting we're going to see one of these walking backward.
Even if Dillo walks backwards, that is annoying for it getting quick set the next turn, because again, it still messes up your positioning, so it won't take much damage from it, but it could still be.
That is, if we see the Sidewinder at all, Choc may like expect one of these to walk back and then just click Demolish instead. We'll see. Thinking hard about this turn.
We see them making full use of the extended timer.
Yeah, extended timer and undo's on again, just so that players can really consider their decisions throughout the entire game. We see the Wottle Tornado Ball off the field, so it's going to be able to be a switch in later. And the Squimage is now in the front. It'll now have copy counter for Mimic, but without much Spirit Attack investment, and again being Tornado Balled in, so it didn't actually receive the attack. Not going to really do all that much damage here. Choc with a good chance to reposition quite safely.
See, I'm thinking about bringing the Duggout back in because it does a chunk into basically everything here except the Bongus. Both Squimage and Daredillo, they're very spirit weak if they can't get their shields or acrobat sidesteps off. Seems like he's considering his options.
You see the counter into the back row, aiming for the Demolipede, but Tortanchor switches in to take it. Likely to see a support move from the Tortanchor, considering Provoke here. Potentially also could call out to boost the Wottle's defense. Igor not really all that threatened out here. Thanks to having provoked the Wottle, it's not able to quick set here, so the Tortanchor's damage potential is pretty low. And Squimage has apparently copied Shy, according to chat, which is super cool because it means it's going to be able to chill in the front row.
But also that it does less time. Oh,
we see Wottle back in. And the Tornado Ball, a honestly very good bring against this counter Daredillo, because if the Wottle hits the Daredillo, it's never going to get to stay in unless it shields.
Clear field for the heal only, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, as we pointed out earlier, 50 healing across the entire team, especially when all of them were chipped a little bit, besides maybe the Bongus.
Notably nerfed in the next patch to come.
Yes.
That is live on main.
But a very worthwhile move to click a lot when you don't have anything better to do, because, I mean, it shores up your bench. And, I mean, if we look at Choc's side of the field, that Maraptor is back up to nearly half stamina, and potentially almost ready to come back in the back row. But we're just continually seeing a whole lot of positioning wars. Both players here getting just tiny chunks of chip and trying to get their opponent.
Bench looks good right now, but he seems to be struggling to really get a definite hit off and capitalize on that. And of course, he's a point behind, and Choc only needs to get his position in once.
Yeah,
see the
and
Wottle coming back in to enable that offense.
Choc also doing a very good job of not hitting this Bandicraft whenever it comes in, so it can't get off the full 100 power zigzag. Will still be able to launch a roll shot here, but that Duggout in the back should take it pretty handily. With that said, though, the Wottle can just deep breath here. I think that's a really, really interesting bring, and I mean, we're gonna see this Wottle from Igor's side stay on the field for just quite a while.
It makes sense because Wottle is kind of tying the offense of the entire rest of the team together. Everything else has a power investment. So
yes,
it's not surprising that it would want to keep itself alive as long as possible.
Yep. Ooh, we see the double volley into the Tornado Ball, forcing the Duggout out.
Getting the Duggout out because it is a huge threat here.
Yeah. As Igor mentioned in the interview earlier, a couple beasties on the team with not all that much spirit defense, so forcing them off the field is certainly something he's interested in doing. This Tortanchor here, now with the quick set from Wottle, has the opportunity to do a whole chunk of damage to whatever sticks in the front row.
Notably, it can't now provoke and get a quick set attack in.
Yeah, so I mean, if the Wottle blocks the Tortanchor, which seems like a pretty fair play from Igor's side, it won't knock out, and then it'll be able to again click that quick set deep breath. And the Bandicraft will be roll-shotting an empty back row if Choc decided to quick set himself. But no, looks like we're going to see the Tornado Ball again. Igor thinking about this one on defense. We see the Bongus in. Bandicraft forced out. Wottle now stuck in the back row. It'll do more damage with its Tornado Balls, but it'll also take more damage itself, which is always a little bit scary if you're a Wottle.
It can get back to the front right away with forward pass, but...
It can indeed.
Yeah, it's a relatively low impact turn.
Yeah, no wipes threatened here from Igor's side. Bounce, a very useful sideways move, and I mean, front row sideways into a front row defender is always going to do a lot of damage, but does have the downside of bouncing off whoever it hits and thus letting the opposing team control the ball and click 2 support actions if they so desire. So, I mean, if a bounce comes out here into the Wottle, it can clear field twice and get 100 healing across the entire team. We see Choc angling to tag the Maraptor back in here. I think it can take whatever hit comes out into it here, but we see that Tornado Ball forcing Choc's Wottle off the field, meaning that he won't be able to click any healing moves. So that bench is looking pretty rough if Igor can get an attacking beastie into good position. Full stamina Bongus in the front for Igor. A Wottle which could walk forward and probably
I'm considering Trait Dance, which is interesting.
Yeah, Trait Dance is a super interesting bring on the Maraptor, being able to...
Instead he goes for the regular Roaring.
Yeah. Being able to put Roaring onto an opponent is a really interesting play, which I do wonder if we'll see later in this match. Not happening this turn. We just see the Power Sap launched, and Igor is either going to have to move that Wottle forward or tag something else in. And we see the Daredillo coming in, and this is where that forward pass on Bongus is going to really come into play. Obviously,
yeah,
Maraptor
gonna
is
have
noisy.
To shield here.
Yeah, Maraptor needs to shield here because that, or we could actually,
the double block
we could see a double block. With that said, we'll see what Igor wants to do. Bounce, despite being a sideways move, won't be able to get a free point here because that Maraptor is noisy. So we'll see whether Igor wants to go for the bounce or wants to put Daredillo into the front row and launch a massive counter.
So he's double blocking to preserve his shield, but... Ooh.
Yep. We see the bounce
came out.
Bounce into the Maraptor, provoking it so it can't shield that turn or the next turn. Very important. It's basically forced off the field right now because Maraptor's Spirit Defense usually leaves quite a bit to be desired. It does have a boost here from that call-out click earlier. But still, being in the front row, not super tanky, and there is that Spirit attacking Daredillo on the field. Igor not really seeing either of these beasties threatened out. We see the welcoming Bongus tag out for the Wottle, getting it basically back up to full, and now there's Quickset on the field, so this counter, which is now boosted...
it's going to do more than the preview because the Quickset will get rid of the Heartbreaker that just hit him.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to do double damage from being in the front row and being jazzed, and then the jazz will also ignore that defense boost on the Maraptor, so this Maraptor has really got to get out of here. Either get out of here or has to see some protection from the Tortanchor. Choc choosing to block the Daredillo. I expect we will almost certainly see a front row counter here. Igor needs to start making some progress. His bench is in fantastic shape. We see a block. It's not anywhere near enough to help that Maraptor survive. But that Maraptor now, again, will come back onto the field later if Igor doesn't finish off the game first. With full stamina and start being a threat again with that Roaring Shield. Daredillo's counter serve, not going to be all that powerful.
Yeah, we see the downside to counter an Acrodillo. It goes great with the trait in the middle of a point, but it's not so great as a serve.
Yeah. Duggout on the field, able to click a front row super commit with the help of Captain. And that's going to do a huge chunk to anything in the back row. But
one way or
notably,
another, Daredillo is now out of the game. Like, there's no way it doesn't.
well, I mean, it can
it does
put
have shield.
here.
I could shield, yeah.
So, Choc thinking
it
hard
has
about
to
that
shield if
one.
he wants to not be
Igor,
out of
no
the game.
doubt, thinking pretty hard himself about whether he thinks Choc is going to hit into that potential shield, or if he could maybe potentially shove the Wottle forward on a hard read. Might be a little bit risky at this stage in the game, considering he still has such a healthy bench. But we will see in a moment as Choc launches the super commit. That Duggout is going to be nervous. So
yeah,
it's,
he decided not to risk it.
Yep, Duggout forced to shield here. Igor, not having provoke on the field, can't prevent the shield, but can do a bunch of damage to it if he wants to. Although, there's also the option, since the Wottle was hit here, of just moving that Bandicraft forward and clicking Roll Shot into the Tortanchor, which I do wonder if we're going to see. With that said, though, that would allow the Tortanchor to get off a call out or a provoke. Probably a provoke, considering the Duggout's likely to go down on offense. So it's a matter of what Igor thinks is more valuable here.
Yeah, and if he moves up the Bandy, I think Wottle is also out for the rest of the game because it's game point for both now.
Yes. This will be the last point of the game, no matter what happens.
Breath,
we see the deep breath come out, and the zigzag just chipping that Duggout a little bit. Super commit looks like it will knock out the Wottle, even if it moves to the front row, which is a scary situation for Igor to be in. The attack almost certainly going into that spot this turn. Just allowing Choc to press the advantage that he sees.
This being overworked, this Duggout will wipe itself after the attack, so the read here is pretty critical.
Yep, but that Maraptor, I mean, the Wottle's still on 55, which is pretty solid. The Maraptor is going to be on full stamina. We see Choc thinking about the back row Heartbreaker and provoking the Bandicraft to prevent it clicking Demanding Set for a couple turns. Duggout, no matter what, even if it doesn't attack, is going to drain to that sweat that's been building up for a turn or two. We see Igor's Bongus come in. That'll allow it to tag out again and potentially get a welcoming proc onto either the Daredillo with Acrobat in the back row or potentially the Bongus. Or, sorry, not the Bongus, the Wottle.
There's nothing stopping you getting a clear fill off as well, which is going to help
Yeah,
that
I mean, one of these beasties on the bench is going to be healing over the next couple turns. 45 stamina, so I mean, the Wottle will be back up at 87 and entirely back in the game. Choc thinking about switching in his own Wottle here. We'll see again here. Since the Bongus does have forward pass, the Bandicraft can launch a roll shot in addition to clear field being clicked.
Yeah, forward pass, it's not as flashy move as some of the boosting volleys like D-set, but it does give you a lot of flexibility on teams like this.
Yes. We see Choc's Wottle come in, quick set online. We could see either a provoke, a call out, or a clear field here. Plenty of options for Choc. With that said, a quick set, of course, does leave him somewhat vulnerable to roll shot if he doesn't decide to walk the Wottle backward. So we'll see what he decides to go for here.
He also has no way of preventing a D-set next turn if Bandy stays here.
Yeah, I mean, Igor with a fairly safe turn here. 2 beasties with pretty good line defense on the field. Bandicraft obviously being the one in the front row. Notorious for having really good line defense. And Bongus, I believe, being fully invested in that stat and getting that additional back row bonus.
It has 20.
It has 20 in that stat.
So it's still pretty decent. 90 line defense.
Yeah, I mean, 90 is the typical benchmark for a pretty decent stat, I would say.
Especially in the back row where Bongus likes to hang out.
We see Choc nearly running out of time formation there.
I guess the D-set is enough of a threat to just get that
force the
Bandicraft
Bandicraft off the field. Yeah, we see Squimage in the front row here going to actually copy Captain. So interestingly enough, we could see like
Shy again,
quick
so
set. Oh, it copies. Does it copy the closest beastie?
Yeah.
Okay, not the beastie opposite. Okay. So another shy Squimage, which is super fun.
So this Squimage has lower attack than usual, which is not necessarily great for Squimage.
But with that said, it can chill in the front row.
Makes its terrible defense slightly less terrible.
Chat noting that Choc's damage potential is pretty low since that Duggout isn't really available.
Yeah, Duggout, he did mention earlier, is his MVP for his draft this time.
Yes.
And we see his damage immediately starting to struggle as soon as it's out for a bit.
With that said, this Maraptor is going to be able to come in the front row here pretty safely. And I mean, if it gets tornado balled out, then the Demolipede is forced in, and that's going to be able to get a wall break off on something. Part of Choc's struggle right now is that difficulty of having Demolipede on the bench and really not being able to come in many situations. But that said, Maraptor in safely here, and it's going to get at least one more turn thanks to Roaring if Choc decides to go for that.
Yeah, being Spitball does not prevent it from shielding next turn, so it's relatively safe here with the amount of health it has, but instead...
Choc has a lot to think about here. His position is definitely a little bit weaker than Igor. Igor having 2 beasties on the field
starting to look a little
great
suspect.
Health. The Daredillo is definitely out of the game for the time being, at least until the Bongus gets in, and maybe it could tag in the back row and with Acrobat tank a hit. But I mean, that Bandicraft and Bongus in the back row still very poised to come in and do a lot of damage. We see the provoke into the Wottle. Choc does not want a quick set going off. Squimage without a support play means that Igor's only options here are really just to like either volley twice or volley once in Tornado Wall. Spitball from the front row obviously going to do a decent chunk of damage, but since that Squimage did copy Shy, it's not living up to its full potential, even to the point at which this Demolipede, which was out of the game for so long, could tag in here if Choc wants it to.
So if he blocks into that Squimage, that's the equivalent of blocking a back row attack. It's like a
yeah, going to do very little damage. We see the Squimage move to the back, which will, if it stays on the field, increase its damage, but my guess is it's threatened out by the potential of this Power Sapper front row Heartbreaker. That Wottle not able to provide the block support for it.
Yeah, with after copying Shy, the back row is not safe for it at all. It's very vulnerable.
So Igor likely to probably switch in the Bongus here. Potential also for
I wonder if
the
Bandy gets hit into full focus.
Yeah, I mean, Choc definitely has that decision to make of...
I think it just gets hit into full focus if he brings it in.
And the Maraptor,
yes,
it's in full focus
range
and
now.
We can see the quick set into zigzag
and
here.
Raptor, noisy, cannot shield.
Noisy and can't shield, so I think this is going to be game 1 to Igor in a moment.
Yeah, you see how Bandy isn't often thought of a pivot type beastie, but full focus really makes it fit very well into this sort of game plan because its defenses are so good that hitting it at all is a risk.
Especially when it's sat next to that Wottle, able to click quick set.
Absolutely.
So game one goes to Igor. Choc going to choose now who serves, who gets counter serve.
Yeah, as a reminder, this is best of 5, so we are gonna see at least a couple more, rather than best of 3, because there are other events.
Choc electing to stick with that counter serve, just being able to click either Frazzle or walking forward with Wottle. Looks like he's thinking about the same counter serve as last time. We'll see if Igor decides to switch anything up, but that spitball serve is so good that I think it's probably not going to change. Yeah, we see the same lead matchup here.
Same lineup, yeah. Once again, Squimage has copied Wallbreaker, so its serve is pretty nasty.
Yep.
But once again, Demolipede can just apply Frazzle right out the gate.
Yep. Frazzle, a nasty counter serve itself. So, I mean, we'll see who gets the momentum in the first few turns. See the spitball into the Tortanchor, preventing it from clicking any of those supportive moves. No provoke, no call out this turn. With that said, again, Igor finds himself in this situation where, which he played around perfectly well in game one, or, well, recovered from perfectly well, where there's the 50-50 of, is that Demolipede clicking Sidewinder into the front row? And I mean, I don't think I see any reason for it not to click Sidewinder in the front row, but Choc decides to go for a lot more damage here, and it pays off as the Squimage walks forward and takes 85.
So it does have shield, but that is a huge chunk. It's not going to live anything without that shield. So just like in match 1, shielding first can often put you behind in a damage race where the margins are already so tight between these two offense teams.
Yep. Squimage, though, able to click Roll Shot if it wants to, can also click Spitball, but with that said, it's not gonna get a KO into the Demolipede ever. So Choc could potentially think about making a read and going for Frazzle, but no, we see the safe play, we see the Duggout tagged in, and its defenses are lowered now, so again, it's gonna take more damage, but that super commit being on the field is a threat. With that said, though, Demolipede's in the front row, so its damage is already boosted.
That Squimage is not living, even a light sneeze.
Yeah, but again, it can click shield here, and since there's no provoke on the field right now, that Tortanchor just switched out, it can shield safely, and then would be able to take a demanding set and just tag out afterward, because Bandy will recover from being tired.
Yeah, we can't prevent the D-set. Thinking about maybe baiting that shield out, hitting into the Bandy to get some chip.
Choc just going straight for the Demolish, into the Bandicraft, getting a bunch of chip, was thinking about the Sidewinder there to push it to the side.
Baiting out that shield, yeah.
But yeah, baiting the shield, getting a whole bunch of damage. Bandicraft can click Zigzag here if it wants to, could also click Demanding Set.
Either way, the Dugout can shield, though there's nothing stopping that.
Bandicraft not super high stamina at the moment, so is under threat of potential big hits later in the game, especially if that Dugout can get to the front row safely.
Yeah, and even right now, its defenses are lowered from Wallbreaker, so
yeah, I mean,
it's not gonna be able to
right now it's in a really bad position.
Yeah.
The we'll see what Igor decides to do here. We just see the block come out into the Squimage. Makes sense.
Guessing that they're not going to risk hitting into that shield.
Yeah, and I mean, a front row super commit almost certainly coming Igor's way, as Choc doesn't have a support move to click on the field. And it's, again, a 50-50
Squid is in
per
such
point
a state that it's probably not worth not sacking, is it?
Yeah,
but
I mean,
get the
but
bandy.
Choc...
The bandy is maybe more value.
Choc pressing the advantage, though, so if the Squimage doesn't tag out, it's going to be stuck on the field and tired in the front row, while something in the back is taking like 50 damage from the super commit right here. Choc with what looks like a very strong position already in this game. Oh, we see the Squimage move to the side.
Guarantee that Squimage gets sacked because it's by far the better sack here. Now,
Yeah.
Bandy has its defenses back at least, so it can't be completely chunked.
But not for long.
Not for long.
Yeah, Choc was considering the Demolish there for a bit. It would knock down the Bandicraft's defenses so that it basically couldn't take anything else, but again, that would put it into full focus, so it would be a
Into full focus and also able to
strong
deset
zigzag.
before it leaves.
Yeah. Choc electing here to not let full focus go up, but gets punished for it as that Daredillo comes in and can launch a massive front row counter here. Which I will note, by the calculations, will knock out either of the beasties that are on full health on Choc's bench, but not the Tortanchor. The Tortanchor would actually survive with 2 stamina.
Ooh, so
with that said, Igor gets the 50-50 as to who's not switching, either right or wrong, depending on what he wanted from that turn, and evens the game up at 1-1. With that said,
I think it was the right call because now that Duggout is on 26 on the bench. Not a great place for the offensive core of your team to be, but that Frazzle did go off. Oh, the deset tired rather. And
yes.
Dillo can't repeat that just yet.
Yeah, there's a bit of a struggle for Choc though, because I'm sure he'd really love to have that Sidewinder available for this turn in particular, while that Daredillo is stuck on the field tired, and
yeah, not having your sideways
the...
on the field is massive against this sort of tag heavy team. It just gives them so much more freedom, so we'll see what Igor does with it, if anything.
Daredillo, if it stays on, won't be able to attack, won't be able to click provoke. So we'll see what Igor decides to do about that.
I expect with the lack of sideways, it may just leave to fight another day, because Acrobat makes its defenses super high across the board, so 82
yeah, especially when it tags in, of course, it gets that defense boost, which makes it actually pretty easy to pivot in. But we see the Bongus come in for the Bandicraft.
Interesting.
Igor likely wanting to tag the Bongus out again in the future, just like straight back out into the Bandicraft.
Possibly
but that provides Choc with a
threaten his own sideways, like he has to move up now because of bounce.
Yeah, bounce on the field. But I mean, Igor can move forward and take very little damage with that Maraptor.
And Maraptor can even double trait dance if it wants, so it could really mess up these both very trait beasties.
With that said, it could also, and I think an interesting play here, which Choc is almost certainly considering a little, is trait dancing welcoming off of that Bongus, thus allowing to tag in the Duggout and like heal it up to 61, which is probably enough to tank a hit somewhere. I'm not sure about the front row, especially while that Daredillo is on the field. But we'll see what Choc goes for, and yeah, we do see the welcoming taken.
He takes
with
the
that
welcoming.
Said, Bongus has roaring now, and that thing has good defenses, so that's not entirely a negative thing for Igor at the moment. It'll become an issue, though, if the Bongus doesn't tag out and stays on the field longer. But no, we see it tag out immediately. Bandicraft now down into full focus. So that zigzag is significantly boosted here.
Oh, but counter is not powered up.
counter isn't powered up, but Demanding Set, I didn't quite see the counter damage. Demanding Set might mean that that Dugout couldn't tag in the front row. Yeah, it'll take just a little too much damage, 66, as opposed to it'll be on 61 stamina if the Maraptor tags out into it. So Choc can't make that play safely. If he wants to think about blocking, has to basically predict correctly which beastie is attacking here. Either one is going to do a lot of damage to this front row Maraptor. Of course, if it's provoked into Demanding Set, which we see here, or we just see the volley. Counter does a chunk of damage. Wasn't actually going to knock out with the D-set, which is why I guess Choc went for the block, but it's not going to be able to shield next turn, which is basically puts this Maraptor out of the game if Choc tags it out. So we'll see what he wants to do with that. Igor's bench looking fantastic, but his field not looking great, so we're almost certainly going to see something tag out here. I'm guessing it's probably the Bandicraft. Bandicraft, of course, having such fantastic defenses that if you get one welcoming proc off the Bongus tagging into it, it's able to come back in and take pretty much anything. Choc going for the power sap.
Going after the bandy.
Yeah. I mean, it's the more likely of these two on the field, so I totally agree with the play. You don't want... It's the more likely to switch out, and if it doesn't switch out, it goes down, so...
And
don't
the
hit
risk
the
of,
Daredillo
like,
and
activating counter without
Yeah.
being able to kill it is just too high.
Since the Maraptor isn't roaring, it's actually not required to take this attack here, since it has welcoming. And it could, in fact...
I don't think anything's
like
going to
stay
enjoy
in
it except
safely,
the Wottle.
but looks like Choc's just tagging into the Wottle, looking for positioning, and potentially a quick set into that Tortanchor if the Maraptor is what gets hit here. Igor getting the clear field off, shoring up the stamina of that bench, but we do see the Wottle come in and receive the attack, so we could see...
And notably, he had to waste that welcoming that he stole.
Yes.
Because that Wottle was on full, so that is notable. I do love like supportive, like disruptor uses a trait dance like this. It's not the most reliable thing, but it's really fun to have to
we
weigh
see
up
it here that
at the moment.
Bandicraft can't safely tag in for this Bongus, because it's not going to heal. It'll actually go down to this Heartbreaker after quick set. I expect Igor knows that, of course, so I don't think we expect to see it here. I expect we probably see either the Bongus stay in or tag out for something other than
Oh, we see Squimage again.
But Squimage is back in.
It's copying bounce, so it has quite a powerful sideways now.
Yeah, and I mean, with forward pass, actually, with that said, forward pass, again, not a great click here because the Squimage has once again copied Shy. So that giant, like, that large damage number that we were seeing in the back row into Choc's Wottle is if that Squimage remains in the back row itself.
That's right, yeah.
So not really able to do all that much. We see Choc go to the front row for the defensive positioning.
Choosing to spitball instead, while Choc couldn't risk not covering his back row.
Spitballing the quick set user, a very time-proven strategy in this patch, which we're currently playing on, will certainly continue to be over the course of Beastieball PvP as a whole. Just make sure it can't click that incredibly strong volley that gets +2 if it's able to go off. And we see the Heartbreaker coming out into the Squimage slot here as it stays in the front and is now going to copy roll shot off that Bandicraft again. Squimage with a couple sweat stacks now. It's not going to be able to take many attacks if it stays on the field. Although with Shy, it might be able to survive something if it blocks. Choc also, though, not really threatened out by anything.
Yeah. Yeah, Shy is really a double-edged sword because on the one hand, yeah, it shows up Squimagers not great defenders to something pretty acceptable, especially with blocks, but on the other hand, Squimage kind of isn't built for that. It really wants to, Mimicry Squimage really wants to steal an attacking trait if it can. It just,
yeah, it loves having Wall Breaker off of Choc's team. It would love to take Overwork, I bet.
Roaring would be a pretty good steal with Shield, and obviously Overwork is Overwork, but Shy is kind of keeping it in check right now.
Yeah, we see the big roll shot coming off, but Clearfield able to restore a little bit of that lost HP for Choc's team. And we see a Tornado Ball coming out, forcing that Wottle off the field, and the Squimage back on the field, becoming tired because when the stress ticked down, it was on the field. If stress ticks down on the bench, you don't get tired. But Igor now with a bit of a rough offensive turn because that zigzag's only going to have one volley behind it.
Choc can pretty freely frazzle and then make both beasties on the field tired, and that's a nasty position to be in.
Well, the Squimage I think would recover by the time the Bandicraft itself got tired, but...
It would, but on this defense turn, I think neither of them will be able to do very much.
So I mean, no block coming out from the Squimage. Igor would have to tag. Choc in a pretty good position, especially with that Bongus only being at 34. And no clear field on anything other than the Bongus itself, so that thing is almost out of the game at the moment, at least. I'd expect that we eventually see Igor sack it and then tag it out for something else.
Yeah, is a very good sack if you really can't avoid it, but
yes,
Choc is going to know that as well.
Notably, Welcoming is one of many traits that is still active when the beastie that has it is wiped or drained. So if the Bongus were to go down, say this turn, it could tag out into that Daredillo, and the Daredillo would be back at full. We see once again Choc electing to go for Clearfield, shoring up the HP of that Maraptor and the Duggout in the back as well. Duggout is maybe almost ready to tag back in at some point. Not really doing much to save the Demolipede here. That thing is not in a great position. But the Wottle itself has almost never been doing better. Yet another Tornado Ball, showing just how good it is into Quickset Wottle, forcing something else into the front. And I mean, this Daredillo does have the front row bonus on counter, but still not going to be able to do that much damage. And if Choc wants, he could tag in the Duggout here. I don't think we'll see it because it would drain itself to Overwork, but an option on the table nonetheless.
Yeah, the big weakness of counter is getting to be played around like this. Like if you T-ball it in, you're often stuck in like a vulnerable position, but you don't get the boost to compensate for it.
Choc considering sacking the point here and going for Frazzle. Igor gets the point. This Daredillo will be tired after serve. But once again, I mean,
will wake up.
Yeah, Bandicraft will wake up, and I mean, once again, in a position where Choc would love to have Sideways on the field for the counter serve, the Demolipede just went down. With that said, Tortanchor here, being captain, can actually just normal volley, and then Wottle can quickset for the Tortanchor, getting off that +2 Heartbreaker if it wants to. Choc immediately loading that up to check the damage. But thinking about some support plays as well, utilizing all the time he has available.
Thinking about the longer game because he is one lagging 1 point behind, whereas Igor's on game point.
Yep. Yeah, if Igor wins another point here, that's the game, and Igor's up 2-0.
His bench is looking very suspect.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, that Wottle is in pretty fine spot, but that Squimage is gonna have a real hard time ever coming onto the field.
Squimage and the Bongus. Like, the Bongus could fix
but Igor gets the Bongus in safely. Only attacking move really able to click here is, of course, Bounce. So, not really threatening Choc's team at all, but that is gonna allow either that Bandicraft or the Wottle to get up to full, or the Squimage to potentially tag in one more time. Daredillo being tired, not really able to do all that much this turn. No provoke on the table.
Yeah, force
Choc
tag
thinking
moves
about-
like T-Ball and Cyclone really do a chunk into these pivot-heavy teams because you can account for it on the first turn by just changing your team order, but you really can't account for it in the middle of a point when your formation's all kind of messed up. And yeah,
Choc thinking about when he's going to be able to get that Duggout back into play, but goes for the Maraptor here.
So we can get a quick set for free.
Yeah, I mean, a free quick set here and another clear field. That Bongus is just barely forced off the field. Wow.
Down the one point.
One extra point of damage. 1 point more than Bongus's current stamina. And I mean, that Maraptor is now in the front row.
Because formation got messed up earlier with all the T-balling, he can't block to save it either. It's really rough to get stuck in the back with a team like this.
Yep. Choc able to get another clear field off. So, I mean, you can just barely see it in the bottom left of the screen there. That Duggout is, I mean, creeping towards full HP. The Tortanchor is
Demo's about to come
basically
back up as
full,
well.
and that Demolipede is going to be back. So Choc's bench in fabulous shape, honestly. Despite the fact that he's down a point, I mean, if he's able to just sort of win the war of attrition here, that Bandicraft comes in, but because of welcoming, it doesn't get knocked into full focus. And can't click roll shot this turn because it's in the back row and won't be able to get up to the front. Not that it would particularly matter, because again, that Maraptor is noisy at the moment. So I expect we'll
counter
probably
doesn't
see...
quite. D-set counter wouldn't quite do it, I think.
Yeah, so I mean...
Not through the double blocks. Not even if you provoke.
Yeah, we could see the zigzag here, or we could see the demanding set into the counter.
Both species having very good mind def, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
probably provoke counter.
If we see the Maraptor get provoked here into a demanding set, that will mean that there's only one block coming out into the Daredillo here. And yeah, that's exactly what Igor goes for. Maraptor takes it
Does not kill, because even through single block that wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, a little bit of stamina remaining, not enough for it to safely stay on the field here. That Bandicraft, while Zigzag isn't all that powerful unless the Bandicraft itself gets hit, Bandicraft will still certainly threaten it off the field, even, or especially if it clicks Power Sap, because then it'll be noisy.
So it's got to be another T-ball here, because otherwise that's...
With that said, Choc could actually clear field twice here if he wants to.
That's true, yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the right play or not, because again, that would potentially allow a roll shot.
Oh, no, he's going for
he's thinking about
100 heal on everyone. Or, I guess it would be slightly more on Raptor because the power stat would heal it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's always an interesting position when you have the opportunity to click 2 support plays and still attack on the turn. And I mean, Igor's Daredillo here basically forced off the field, but I mean, that Wottle poised to come in the back. Choc running low on time, just goes for the Tornado Ball, wants to get the attack out. We see Bandicraft forced off the field, in full focus, but low enough that it probably can't tag in safely.
Squimage has Shy again, and that's not the best trait for it to have.
Yeah, but I mean, it is in the back row now. It just got pushed in without taking a hit, which means it's going to get more damage.
I suppose it can do
off.
Damage if Raptor does to stay in.
Yeah, but again, no spirit attack investment, so that counter's actually doing less than the spitball to the Duggout if it wants to come in and put itself in a really good position here. But I mean, Choc has 3 fantastic options for tags here, and ends up going for the Tortanchor.
Very healthy.
Certainly seeing an attack from the Squimage. I'm guessing it's probably going to be a spitball into that Wottle, just make sure it can't click quick set. Oh, but no, we see it into the Tortanchor. Prevent the Tortanchor from provoking or clicking call out, but that said, I mean, the Wottle can flick quick set now, and we'll see a pretty strong Heartbreaker coming out here.
I wonder if we have to see the shield here.
Yeah, I mean, Squimage, this is a 50-50 for the point here. Of course, nothing is really a 50-50, but Igor has to decide here, well, this quickset Heartbreaker could take out either of my beasties on the field. What do I want to do about that? And then, I mean, a Tornado Ball would be poised to come out on serve and just mess up the positioning even more.
The Tornado Ball, there's so much value for both of these here. Especially from Choc.
Yep, Choc going for the kill here on this Daredillo. If the Daredillo walks to the back, it really doesn't take all that much damage. Because Acrobat will activate in addition to that back row boost, which I believe will let it take 44, but no.
Oh no.
Igor just goes for the swap on the Squimage, which I think might have even gone, no, not quite gone down to a Tornado Ball, but just swaps out the Squimage. With that said though, Bongus is in and has sideways pressure on the field, and we know how important that is on counter serve. Wottle out of position now, forced in the back row. That Bandicraft again off the field, and I mean Igor's bench is...
That is a nasty bench.
In really rough shape. The Bongus can help a little bit. But I mean, Igor's not threatening much damage on this particular turn here. So we'll see how Igor decides to play this position, which is really tough.
I wonder if he just has to fix his position, because this is game point for both.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is...
Yeah, you see him fixing that position.
Yeah, puts the Wottle in the front, so it's going to take less damage, and leave Bongus in the back so it can tag into something
we almost
potentially.
certainly see a welcoming coming in here. Because
yeah, and I mean, Bandicraft, by my calculations, can come in safely, even into that quickset Heartbreaker, and then would launch a massive quickset Zigzag of its own. So Choc can't really safely target that slot as much as he would really love to. That slot with the Bongus, which is by far the weaker slot at the moment, is just not a safe target because of Wottle's quickset capabilities. We see the provoke it into Wottle though. That is certainly one way to mitigate things.
Oh, double provoke, maybe. He did get the easy receive.
Yeah, double provoke Tornado Ball, force the Wottle off the field, force the Squimage back on.
Force the Wottle off the field and force something very, very weak.
Yeah. Bandicraft only gonna be able to get one Zigzag volley boost off here. Could walk to the front row to increase its damage by quite a bit, but I mean, judging by the damage from that Squimage roll shot. Yeah, but again, it has Shy. And that's something we keep seeing all match, because that Wottle on Choc's side is staying on the field so much. The Squimage has barely been anything other than Shy. It's obviously got Wall Breaker at the start of matches, at the start of each game, but beyond that, once it's been forced off the field, it really hasn't been able to output the damage that I'm sure Igor was wanting for it to be able to do.
Anxiety is the enemy of all Squimage.
Truly. Alright, we see the Spitball into Wottle here, again, preventing that quickset. Spitball super powerful in that it can basically do that every single turn.
Oh, Dillo is back up, though.
Daredillo is back up on
It doesn't
Igor's
fear
bench.
too much from Demolipede on the tagging because of Acrobat.
Yeah, and I mean, that Bandicraft's not going to go down to anything here, so Choc looking into potentially just Tornado Balling something out. Leaving the Demolipede in the back row for a rainy day, so it can, again, tank hits better. And
Look
then
at all the angry on the field. They really...
Wow, yeah. Not that often you see two angry beasties on the bench.
No.
But Tornado Ball and Double Provoke will do that to you.
Wottle hates out being angry as much as Squimage hates being shy. It's a match made in hell.
Igor thinking real long and hard about this one. Which beastie to tag in. It is the Wottle in the end. Daredillo now in the front row. Demanding set would boost its damage a little bit, but not all that much, because again, that counter isn't activated.
It is healthy and it could provoke, which Wottle hates as usual.
Yeah. I find it really interesting, honestly, that, and just a quick discussion as we see some turns that aren't super impactful as the Wottle gets provoked again and can't quick set, so the Demolipede won't be doing all that much damage. I find it super interesting that a major talking point in just full meta, build whatever you want PvP, mid-range teams have had a bit of a rough time as of late, just like not being as offensive as offensive teams and not being able to stall as well as the stall teams, and they've kind of struggled in the meta a little bit because of that, aside from maybe like some instances of like double, triple torch pass. But here in the finals of this draft league, we have two teams that are fairly mid-range.
Are they mid-range? Because that's such a nebulous term. I would say
it really is a nebulous term, but I mean, Igor's team
I would
definitely
describe
is.
both of these as like really offensive, despite the actual beasties that they're using in terms of just like. Although
Igor's
yeah,
is
Igor's
very
is like
healing focused, and I mean,
deceptively healing focused. Yeah, he really.
and then I
He really
mean,
does a lot of maneuvering to keep that bench healthy. So yeah, I guess it could.
Choc relies
though
on
there's
quite a
so
bit of
much
setup
power
as well,
behind
with like wanting to, you know, get that Wottle in the front row to just click clear field
Yeah,
over
Wottle
and over
puts
again.
very interesting pressures on your team building. I actually had Wottle in the casual division, the neural net division, and I dropped it halfway through the season, and that's the second worst literary mistake I've ever made. But it was genuinely difficult to build for, because you kind of have to maneuver your whole team around this sort of pivoting and allowing it to get to the front safely.
Yeah, with that
You
said
can't just
though, I
slap it
mean,
in.
this Wottle, which has been in the front safely, now able to click quick set and gets
The
Choc
payoff
the
is
game.
huge, and that is game.
That turn was a 50-50 as to who needed to shield or if the Bongus needed to tag. I'm not sure if the Bongus tagging even saved anything there, just because of how strong that +2 super commit off an overworked Duggout is. So
I don't think it
that
did overwork as well.
evens the set out at 1-1. Igor, though, has the pick advantage as to who serves here, so we'll see what he decides to go for.
Interesting, he chooses to serve again.
Yeah, so I mean, Igor going with what works. His team was built to serve because he knew he was starting the match by serving. So just decides to get that spitball off. Presumably with wall breaker again, unless Choc decides to go a different direction.
Having seen that lead twice now, is he gonna...
He's
I
sure
see him
thinking about
considering
it.
several different traits, and thinking that the Squimage is probably gonna show up again.
Something I'm really interested in, what I kind of hope to see is, I don't know if it's a good idea for Choc, but putting the Maraptor in the first slot would be fun, because then the Squimage is stuck with Roaring, which it really doesn't want.
We see him sticking with his regular lead, which
With that
makes
said,
some
we
sense.
see the
I mean,
regular
that's the
lead,
one
but
he must have workshopped.
Igor switches it up. We're going to see Tornado Ball as the serve here.
Interesting. I mean, Choc has been getting so much value out of Tornado Ball on Igor's team.
Yeah,
It's
for
only
sure.
fair to send it back.
And Igor into Choc's team as well, honestly. Even though it's been clicked a little bit less. With that said, Tornado Ball actually a pretty good serve here, because it can, if Igor wants, force that Demolipede off the field, but no, goes for the Tortanchor, forcing that off the field. So Igor now has to respect the sideways immediately.
Yep.
Which Choc may choose to punish again, or may choose to just go for it. We'll see.
Just a really nasty combo with the sidewind around the frazzle, because immediately you've got to spend that action on a pretty inefficient counter serve turn, or you just lose the point right away and you're at a disadvantage.
We see Duggout walk forward to prepare to block and do a whole bunch of damage. Choc electing a quick Sidewinder into the back row,
Ooh, the
which
disrespect.
pushes the Daredillo behind the Wottle, so it's going to have a hard time getting to the front here. I mean, if Igor wants to do any damage, it has to be a double volley here. And then, I mean, you have a Wottle in the front row who can't block, and a Daredillo in the back row who could move to the side and activate Acrobat, but already has that defense drop. So, I mean, this front row super commit is still going to do a huge chunk of damage, if not just straight up knock it out.
The wall breaker defense drop really coming in clutch here already.
We see Daredillo just move to the side, go for the free ball, but Duggout gets an easy receive here. Super commit, certainly an option. Could also quick set and let that Demolipede do a whole lot of damage.
It's a super interesting option on a offensive Dugout. It's
Yeah,
not
I mean, we've seen Choc use it. We've seen Choc use it
Choc
quite a
has
few
been,
times
yeah.
this season.
Choc has been a big fan of it because it just
I mean, it creates a lot of 50-50s.
Yep.
That Bandicraft just took 65
Oh, it's
damage.
what? It's like
It
too
is
shy of
1
full
point
focus.
above full
One-
focus,
yeah,
so this
one
zigzag is a
point.
lot less powerful than it would otherwise be. With that said, again, Bongus welcoming will be able to shore it up later, so it's not out of the running or anything. And this quick set zigzag, if Igor goes for that, will still hurt quite a bit.
So if you, the general rule with zigzag, if you see it doing more than 20 on the preview, you're in trouble. And we see it do 29 here. I don't think it kills, but it is going to do a
29
chunk.
into the Dugout specifically.
Yeah, into the Dugout.
The math here, which I can do real quick, is it gets doubled due to Zigzag's power being doubled, which would put it at
But then
58,
also-
and then doubled due to front row and jazz of the quick set,
Yeah.
which would put it at 116. With that said, Dugout could block and live that if it wanted to.
Also shield. I suppose, but
also
it's-
could
we
shield.
see the frazzle instead.
But yeah, Frazzle certainly a good option. Puts Choc in a good position if the point is, or a decent enough position if the point is lost. We see the quick zigzag, and that is going to knock out the Dugout. My math was a little bit off, probably due to rounding, 113, but that is still more than enough.
Zigzag math famously difficult to do in the heat of the moment.
But Igor, going up the point here. And again, able to mess with Choc's positioning here.
Yeah, that annoying sideways now off the field again, even though Wottle is sleepy.
Sideways off the field, Wottle stuck in the back row if it doesn't want to just take an action
Just
to walk
palace up,
forward.
get the bandy.
Choc has a really interesting line here, which I doubt he'll go for, but it would be funny if he did, which is trait dancing roaring onto the Wottle.
That would be funny.
I don't think it's a great strategy, but the idea of this incredibly shy wombat suddenly screaming really loudly is funny.
I mean, some panic attacks.
Choc thinking hard about how to use his actions this turn. Certainly eyeing the trait
We
dance.
just hover the trait dance.
Yep. Noteworthy, I don't
But
think that
chooses
Bandicraft is
the
actually
fix.
forced off the field right now because, again, Maraptor in the
with
back row.
T-ball, yeah.
Yeah,
I
not going
don't
to be able
think
to
it
do
can kill
enough.
it, and it would hit into full focus.
Choc just going for the roaring here, leaving Wottle on the field, which takes, honestly, quite a big chunk of damage because, again, not having that defense boost from the front row. 43 is a lot. It'll be able to deep breath it off again later. But
it can't this turn because it's still sleepy.
So, with Noisy on that Maraptor, Bounce would actually give Choc a support play and a quick set on the upcoming offense turn. So we're gonna see that here.
Noisy barely really has a choice because it was that or free ball with the Wottle out of commission.
Yeah.
But he chooses to just fix his positioning and suck it up this turn.
I mean, another option would have been to double clear field, but The chip damage is still certainly nice.
Ooh, the exact damage if he doesn't block.
I expect the block likely to come out here. Wottle on Choc's side, obviously not threatening that much damage, so the block just makes some sense.
Yeah, there's no reason not to, but at the same time that means Bongus has to stay on the field with not his most impactful attacker because its big value is its sideways, and Raptor is currently shutting that down.
Yep. And Choc into position to double block here with that Maraptor in the front row, still noisy. It's not going to take much damage here, even with a quick set. With that said, neither of these teams are particularly ramp heavy, so these games have been going on quite a while just due to
the
slow
thing with
pace of
reliance
play.
on quick set and to some extent demanding set, like you're getting a huge boost with that one move, but it doesn't go any higher than that. So the damage, if you can get stuck in a bad position or like Igor forced to manage your bench to stay in the game, then things can go on quite a long time without the progress.
A lot of burst damage, not a lot of sustained damage. That Duggout, of course, very good at outputting a lot of damage whenever it's on the field, but because of overwork, it can't really keep itself going that much. We see the Tornado Ball from the Wottle here, so no easy receive here, and the Maraptor is forced off the field, but that puts Duggout in a position to get off a quick set boosted super commit, which could do a lot of damage to anything here. That Wottle is not safe because it's so low.
Nothing is safe there. There has like.
Yeah.
The only thing is if. Yeah.
Wow. Can I just note?
Those are numbers.
That Daredillo could tag in the back row and live a spirit attack.
Oh, true, acrobat.
With that said, though, hitting into the Wottle slot is a guaranteed point.
Yeah, at least null the damage and.
Yep.
Oh, it just doesn't know much better though, because if he hits into that Wottle
massive
walking
serve
up,
here. The Wottle has to move forward or tag out here. And Choc aiming for the Bongus, hoping to weaken it over some time.
Again, forcing the Wottle Bongus to stay on the field. It does some damage, but it may not do enough.
Yeah, I mean, something Choc did super well last game was making sure that Bongus was low from early on.
We see Dillo coming in, actually.
Yeah, we see Daredillo come in.
Notably, Duggout no longer stuck on the field because of his super commits back-to-back. The second nervous doesn't go off.
With that said, though, why would Choc tag it out here? It's in a fantastic position, especially with the Spirit Weak Daredillo and the weakened Bongus on the field. Choc has been definitely, I think in the first game, struggled a lot.
But it does come up because the quick set is pretty
true. Choc succeeding a lot more at preventing that Bongus from coming onto the field over and over again, which is what a lot of people struggled with against Igor during the regular season and playoffs. Just welcoming being able to keep his bench more healthy than it appears a lot. But if the Bongus itself isn't healthy, then it can't really tag in safely. And Choc, after getting pretty well burned by that the first game, is doing a much better job of dealing with it in
Provoke on the Wottle.
This game. Provoke on the Wottle, preventing the quick set. Duggout won't be able to launch a front row super commit here. Never mind a front row jazzed one. Daredillo, of course, still at risk of taking a whole lot of damage here. If it doesn't click shield. Yeah, but nothing threatened out here for Igor's side. Despite the fact that the strongest attacker in the game, or in this game, is on the field at the moment. Choc thinking about just hitting into that Daredillo, potentially.
Even that extended time is running down.
Yep.
He goes for the Bongus.
Oh, we see the Bandicraft come in. Thankfully for Choc, not knocking it into full focus.
It does have enough HP to shield, and it's gonna have to.
Yeah, but I mean, that Duggout now is stuck in the back row. And the Daredillo can click provoke here, preventing it from shielding, so
It
Choc
can provoke,
definitely
yeah.
thinking about moving that Wottle to the side, yeah. And we'll see if Igor reads into that. This is,
risky,
I think, the first time we've seen someone stack in this entire finals. They've both been playing it very safe so far. Obviously, if Igor gets this right...
They had the Squimage sack earlier, the get down Mr. President maneuver. But not a deliberate body blocking, I don't think.
Yeah, but I mean, if Igor hits into that lane here and hits the Wottle...
Yeah, if he sees that coming and just hits the other lane, that is a point. And leaves Duggout on 6. Still in a pretty bad spot, still forced to shield.
Yeah, but I mean, if the Wottle does get hit, then the Duggout just walks to the side, receives a quick set because the Angry ticks down, and does a whole lot of damage. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna see here. The Duggout will drain itself, so it'll be back up later in the game. And this is gonna do a massive chunk of damage to something.
Okay, so
Daredillo
could no longer, yeah.
Anything in the Bandicraft slot,
You just sacked
though.
the Bongus here, but who is gonna hit into?
Sacking the Bongus is certainly an option, allowing Igor to get that welcoming off. I think that looks like his best option here. Okay, and we just see the Daredillo shield.
Yeah.
Notably,
oh, but he has to serve free ball now, at least.
yes, Duggout in the serving slot. Chalk up a point, though, which is very valuable. But that Bandicraft is going to be back up later. The Wottle's still not in great shape on Igor's side, but if it can come in, it can click Deep Breath and get a whole bunch of health back.
Sideways is back on the field with that Duggout self-wiping.
Yep.
So he could be greedy enough to go for that.
The Bongus switch, certainly a smart one in terms of being able to basically hit right back if Choc decides to reposition the Duggout. And if Choc doesn't reposition the Duggout, if he doesn't want to give up the point, then he's dedicating the turn to freeballing.
Yeah, he kind of can't cover the front row. He just wouldn't be in a good spot afterwards.
Yep. So Igor strikes right back, 2-2.
Game point for both.
This is, of course, the pivotal third game of the best of 5, so depending on which way this swings, that could really make it is really going to make the match harder for whoever loses this one. Daredillo serving here with a not-so-strong counter. Still able to chunk Maraptor pretty well. Maraptor's spear defense, of course, quite low relative to its other defensive stats. But that said, I mean, Quickset Power Sap able to come off here and do a whole bunch of damage. Choc thinking real hard about this one. Nothing on Igor's side threatened off the field. Choc thinking about the trait dance for welcoming again. And aiming that tornado ball into the Daredillo. Again, just preventing it from clicking counter because it'll be pushed off the field. Unless it shields. If it shields, then if Igor reads this and shields, then that's a volley forward pass front row counter with the boost. But no, we just see no defensive play from Igor, the Squimage back on the field, once again copying Shy. Squimage notably also has bounce at the moment. Not that that really matters because it won't have bounce once the Bongus leaves the field, but either of these beasties can provide sideways pressure, which is always interesting. With that said, this Maraptor not threatened off the field because that Wottle could just block the Squimage. Choc still going for the tag, though, considering I think he did end up stealing Welcoming, so, I mean, get just that little extra sliver of HP on that Tortanchor.
Yeah, not just bounce, but like regular old Spitball still on the field, which is Wattle's second least favorite thing.
Yep. Spitball, of course, coming out into the Wottle.
There's a pretty good chunk off the Shy Aggro,
Yeah, I mean...
considering Wattle's line defense.
That Squimage under threat of taking a lot of damage if it doesn't walk forward or tag out, but nowhere near actually falling over here. As per usual, we're seeing a lot of just really intricate gameplay, because I find this game is actually a lot harder when there isn't a kill.
Yeah, absolutely, because then it's about weighing up what
like,
makes your position better.
Yeah, how can I improve my position on this turn, which doesn't really seem like it matters all that much.
Walked up to stop Squimage from dying.
Yep.
It has reduced damage now.
Yeah, less damage on the Squimage. It could walk backward. With that said, after call out into that Wottle, Spitball barely doing anything with the double Mind Defense boost. Igor going for the clear field, getting some of that healing on the bench as the block Spitball does
Single-digit
9.
damage, you love to see it.
A front row, fully invested mind attacking Squimage
Well, quote
just
unquote
did 9
row.
damage.
Delicate wilting flower Squimage.
Yes. Choc just going for the Tornado Ball after the easy receive block. Provoking the Bongus, making sure it can't click clear field more than Choc wants it to. Can't keep its own health up super well. With that said, Igor's bench in pretty good shape, especially if the Bongus tags into that Wottle, then everything will be pretty much at full.
It did lose Welcoming earlier, didn't it?
Oh, but yeah, English. It did lose
Not
Welcoming,
quite.
yes.
But
with
still
that said,
not the worst bench I've ever seen, but...
With that said,
it has Welcoming
Igor
back
gets
now.
a lucky break there with it getting Tornado Balled right back into play, so now it has Welcoming again, whether it did in the first place or not. Still angry though, so not able to click forward past
full
or
power
clear.
invest on that Bongus though, so the Wottle may not like that.
Roll shot off of Bandicraft doing a decent chunk of damage to this Tortanchor, but not enough to threaten it off the field in even 2 turns. We see Choc eyeing tagging in that Demolipede. As again, Igor not threatening all that much damage. We see the D-set into the bounce though.
Oh, it survives!
It does survive, because again, D-set not giving jazzed, so that call-out boost from earlier,
Yeah, that call-out is a...
I think,
Look at those raw
just
stats with
allowed
the
that
double
Wottle to
call-out.
survive that maybe. I believe
Crazy.
since that did 28, it would have taken about 37 from that without the defense boost, which would have taken it out. Choc playing the long game with that one. And I mean, getting rewarded by this very strong quick set demolish coming out. That Daredillo can tag in safely though, and would launch a massive counter. And Choc, I think, recognizes that possibility and thinks about other options.
With Welcoming, I think
Oh,
Wottle
Wottle actually had 2
just
defense
about.
boosts. I didn't even count
Yeah,
that.
double call-out.
Looking at the quick set here, this is risky because again, if that Daredillo comes in, it's not going to take all that much damage. But no, we see the Wottle.
Wottle survives, yeah,
Oh,
with Welcoming.
but this is now an extremely rough position for Choc
That roll
because
shot.
roll shot means that Choc might have to respect it and walk backward. But that opens up the Wottle to just falling down to a zigzag here. This turn could end the game. Igor suddenly in a very, very strong position. With that said, we are going to see the front row dugout if Choc gets this right.
doesn't end this turn. I think it ends.
Igor has a lot to think about here, though, because, I mean, if he clicks Roll Shot and the Demolipede walks back, the Demolipede then just gets pushed right back to the front and clicks another Quickset Demolish to basically put Igor in the same position of having to figure out who to tag in.
Yeah, Wall Breaker means that these kind of stalemates are not going to last very long, so it's a question of who gets it right
We see the
first.
Roll Shot. Igor takes game 3 and goes up 2-1.
Dang.
And that's, I mean, this is now
was
match
nail-biting.
point for Igor.
So Choc wants a small break.
Yes. Choc wants a small break. We've been going for quite a while.
Yeah, that's...
So, totally understandable. These games have been quite long. Probably averaging almost 30 minutes each.
Well, a healing core and a pivoting core does that to you.
Indeed. And on the other side, a Wottle that's just not getting hit and keeps clicking Clearfield.
Clearfield.
Alright, y'all. We are just about ready to go with game 4. Hope you all are refreshed and ready to go, because, I mean, Igor's on match point here, but Choc is certainly not going to go down without a fight. Choc currently picking serve. Skarme, we are truly witnessing some great Beastieball tonight.
I am on tenterhooks. I am as anxious as the Squimage to see what happens.
Alright. Looks like Choc is deciding serve. So...
It makes some sense because obviously Igor prepared the serve and maybe he wants to mix it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Choc obviously has won a game on counter serve already this set. But this is something we haven't seen yet.
Hold
so...
up, we might be getting some lag. We might have a little technical delay.
Yep. Okay. Alright. Not going to restart the game for memory purposes. This is, of course, an early access game, so we'll be back in a moment. With that said, though, to continue chatting, I am curious as to what Choc is going to serve with, because it seems like he has a few pretty good options between the Wallbreaker Demolipede, the Wottle being able to click Tornado Ball, and that Maraptor, of course, having Roaring.
Yeah, we have seen almost any of them except the Super Commit Duggout was probably got some argument to it. We saw how impactful Wallbreaker serve can be right out of the gate by having it used against him by Igor.
Yeah.
So if I had to guess, that might be it. But yeah, Roaring is an incredibly powerful serve as well. Like if you start off noisy, then there's nothing Igor can do to avoid hitting into that shield or whatever.
Yeah,
It'll
be interesting to see too what Igor brings on counter serve. My guess is it's probably pretty likely to be something in the Wottle, and just have the Wottle walk forward. Because
it looks like Choc is back.
Yep, Choc's back. Igor will be here.
Yeah, on the counter serve side, I really expect Wottle walk up, the classic. But we shall see very soon.
But with that said, if Igor thinks it's going to be a particular team serving, specifically not the Maraptor, could consider potentially bringing that Bongus so that he could click a sideways move and like threaten that free point. So, Choc starting with the Wottle. So we are going to see that Tornado Ball just to really try and get that early positioning advantage.
It has been doing a huge amount of work for him with Igor's pivot-heavy team, very position-based.
Indeed.
So it makes sense. Counter, we are seeing the Wottle on counter serve as well. They are stare each other down again.
the showdown.
And Choc just wants to get it off the field right off the bat.
Fair and understandable. And yeah, I mean,
The
Choc...
walk-up is a counter-serve that I think a lot of people underestimate, but obviously it's not very flashy, but it does get you into the right position to do whatever, especially if you can just live that walk-up, and especially when a Wottle is involved, because...
Yeah, some beasties are definitely better at the walk-up counter-serve than others, and Wottle is by far, I think, the best. With that
The
said...
sideways is on the field now, and...
Yep.
Provoke
But I
is
mean-
also, yeah.
Choc's always just moving the Wottle forward. That said, Demolipede taking a lot of damage there from that front row spirit attack, even though the
Because it
Daredillo
didn't get
wasn't
the initial wall break serve off of Wallbreaker, and currently their defenses are intact, and pretty good defenses at that, especially if Daredillo moves back.
But with Choc having that Sidewinder, that sideways pressure on the field, Igor has to really consider what the play is here. And I mean, Daredillo moving back means that counter is going to be boosted, but it has a defense boost, which is going to make it harder to keep on the field for longer. And a counter from the back row is not going to do all that much damage. It can't get pushed back up to the front with forward pass.
So just a huge amount of disruption in a single move, that Wallbreaker
and
Sidewinder.
we see Choc angling to click Frazzle here.
That even more, just for fun.
And that Wottle, which is certainly not going anywhere anytime soon, is going to be able to click Quickset, and the Demolipede will launch a pretty strong Demolish. We do see the counter coming out from Igor, just really chunking that Demolipede again. It down to 8, but I mean, Quickset here.
Frazzle with an open lane is a bit of a nasty place to be in. I wonder if he just...
Yeah, I mean, Igor's action economy for the next couple turns is really quite tanked.
Igor's own sideways is so valuable to keep here. I wonder if they just let the Bongus snap it off, but hard to say. Oh, we see the T-ball instead. He's thinking about it.
I think Choc's really thinking hard about whether he expects Igor to just give up this point or not.
There's several ways this could go.
Yeah. Clearfield only really getting 10 healing on that Demolipede, but since there's like no Torch Pass available on that team, that Demolipede is either getting healed by Clearfield, being clicked over and over again, or by going down. Choc actually electing to go for the Sidewinder again, expecting Igor to move something to the side here, which does happen. So that Bongus stuck in the front row can't forward pass because it's tired. Daredillo didn't just receive, so counter not doing all that much damage. And Choc electing to tag out this Demolipede.
Heavily chipped, but still, like, the whole bench is untouched.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in both games 2 and 3, I think more so in game 2 though, that, I mean, this Wottle on Choc's side has been able to just stick on the field because Igor just isn't hitting it. And if the Wottle's on the field, it just gets to keep clicking Clearfield and slowly but surely healing up Choc's bench. See the provoke here into the Wottle, preventing that quick set. Smart play as the Duggout comes in and takes a whole bunch of damage.
50. Although it can attack from the front still. And that is not great for...
Arkwell in chat noting that both beasties on Igor's side of the field
I think
have a defense drop now.
The Bongus cannot live this.
Yeah, so I mean, the Sidewinder having a sneaky second purpose besides just keeping Igor's positioning behind.
You can see why Choc values Wallbreaker demo so highly over the Watchtower that was more common to run for a long time.
Yeah, and
it just opens up some really big holes that the Wottle can just maneuver around.
Obviously, worth noting that this is pre-most recent patch, so Watchtower does still have the 1.2 times damage.
There is that too, yeah. That got rolled back.
Downside to
this
it,
current patch.
So Choc's shied away from it in favor of just more offensive sets, more disruptive sets with Sidewinder Wallbreaker. We see the Provoke here and the Quick Set jazzing the Daredillo in the back row.
Notably, you can Quick Set when the recipient is stuck in the back. That's not the case for some moves like Launch.
Yeah, but I mean, even without Quick Set there, that Duggout was not living that counter.
It was going to die anyway, but it's an
Provoke.
interesting one to see, the jazz without moving up.
Super Commit showing its downside here. Basically meaning Igor got a free unpreventable point there. That said, Demolipede back on the field here after the Tornado Ball, able to launch a pretty hard Demolish here. Although, if I'm not mistaken, it's not going to quite knock out that Wottle if it moves forward.
I think it just barely survives.
Yep. Gonna live on 4 here, and able to click Deep Breath after this. With that
Does have
said,
Deep Breath to back up to...
definitely
pretty
has
low,
to get off
honestly.
the field, though, because, again, that Wallbreaker defense drop is quite powerful.
Both Provokes are on the field now, so that Wottle would be in dire straits even if it was healthy enough to stay.
Yeah, we'll see if Igor wants to do something about that. The opportunity of getting the first Provoke off is presented to him here, but he could also, click Deep Breath on the Wottle, get it up to 34, and potentially get it much higher with a Welcoming proc later. But either way, it will definitely need to come off the field here. You see the Deep
Goes
Breath?
for the Deep Breath so that it can come in later.
Counter into the Wottle, giving Choc a support play here.
But even Provoke Quick Set, which that Wottle really isn't going to like. I wonder if it just comes out here so that Welcoming can bring it back later.
Thinking about whether to provoke or clear field here. Was thinking briefly about provoking the Wottle, but that would actually be a bit of a mistake here, because again, that Wottle with the defense drop is forced off the field here after Quick Set is clicked.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely stopped thinking about that particular option. Now eyeing the call out, boosting the Wattle's defenses.
Yeah,
Also,
Quick Set can break through that call out, but obviously if the Wattle's leaving the field, you can't do that.
no Quick Set from Choc's side here, leaving something in the back row to potentially deal with the Bandicraft if it decided to come in, so that
Return of Shy Squimage.
Roll shot. But yeah, Squimage back in, Shy once again. Very bashful little squid. Has a activated counter, but again, Choc with his 2 best Spirit Defensive Beasties on the field right now, so it's never going to click that over Spitball. With that said, I think we're pretty likely to see a Provoke here coming out into that Wottle from Igor's side. Always a fantastic play against any Quick Set user, because you really don't want it getting that +2 in 1 move off. And yeah, the block attempt here provoked. Tortanchor stuck in the back row. Can't get to the front row and click Heartbreaker here, but could click Call Out or Provoke itself.
Yeah, not much damage done on this turn, but provoking first is always a very impactful disruption when you only have 1 provoke on the other team.
I almost wonder, though, if it's not really worth... I don't think it's worth provoking the Daredillo here. Because
Yeah, they went
the
for the
thing that
shield
you
instead.
care about being provoked is the Wottle, but the Wottle's already angry, so it's not going to provoke the Wottle. And yeah, we see Igor goes for a pivot there into the Bongus, and Bongus immediately gets Tornado Balled out, which means that
Now it's looking a lot
Wottle's now
healthier,
back
even though
up
it
at
is
69.
stuck in the back. Nice.
Still in the back, but I mean, it can click Deep Breath, and then it's basically full.
Although that does mean it can't move up. It's a bit risky to move up, maybe.
There's certainly the option to move it up on defense, though, which when that Demolipede is stuck in the back and has the only sideways move on the team.
That's true. Like it's not as if the Squimage is.
Yeah,
is
there's
blocking it.
barely any risk, especially because Igor has 2 Shy Beasties on the field right now. Has a very good position to potentially start double blocking basically every single turn for a while if he wants to.
Thinking about it.
You see
But
the
we
deep
see
breath?
go for the
We see-
healing. It's back to practically full.
And the Mimic Tornado Ball actually forcing the Duggout in, which is really bad, actually, because now, I mean...
It can't shield.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the
That
Squimage
is
being provoked from the previous turn. That provoked from the Tortanchor
once again those are numbers.
paying off.
Those are numbers
And I
on the
mean,
screen.
this is a 50-50 here for a point for Choc. And I mean, the Dugout's still in fantastic health because it just got Tornado Balled in.
Going for the Wottle spot. If it
Choc
doesn't
aiming
move
for
up,
the
it's
Wottle.
dead.
I do think if I'm Igor here, yeah, I value the Wottle's life a lot more than the Squimage, so it walks forward here and is
Especially
able
with
to
deep
click
breath,
the...
yeah, because
Yeah.
that Wottle's life goes a lot further.
Yeah. Worth noting, though, this Dugout can't be Tornado Balled out because of Super Commit. Super Commit showing its downside earlier in the game, but also has that big upside. Spitball into the Wottle, just ensuring that Quickset can't be clicked this turn, so the damage isn't going to be quite as egregious here.
They're both hugging the net. They're both ready to double block.
Yep. Dugout not able to take a knockout here. By the damage numbers, it looks like it should, but when you consider from Igor's perspective that there's no reason to really not double block this,
Oh, quick setting the Wottle. Interesting.
Quickset into the Wottle does give it a little more damage, so that's certainly something that's worth considering. You get more chip out of it.
Yeah, that flexibility from putting quickset on the attacker is coming out.
But yeah, Choc just aiming for that damage on that Squimage. Gonna be double block wars for at least one more turn here, I think. Ooh, the Jazzed Spitball, though, might actually... Because that Wottle is +4 on Mind Defense, Jazz will probably actually knock it out, and that's a calc that Choc definitely has to be aware of here. With that said, if the double block comes out into the Squimage, I think it still survives, because obviously that damage is halved.
I wonder if quickset T-Ball would put it in a pretty bad spot.
Potentially.
That's probably not.
It'll
as
obviously
worth
be
it.
less damage
Because it'll bring in
because
Taunt.
it's a weaker move
Who is very
and
healthy.
not an invested stat for the Squimage. But it's an interesting concept, at least. We just see the double deep breath off the Wottle and a Spitball. So yeah, I mean, Wottle's obviously
Also,
living that,
probably
but
reading that the double block would save it and just going for the further, trying to get some progress out of this attrition.
But yeah, I mean, this Spitball is actually, despite the fact that it's doing barely any damage, it's making a lot of progress for Igor here, because this Dugout is taking massive
Yeah, the
chip from
overload
Sweat.
chip and the sweaty is adding up.
And the Wottle, while Spitball is very good at negating the quick set, The Wottle is also the one that wants to click clear field, which means that it's not able to heal up Choc's bench at all here. So Igor, I think, is in a pretty commanding position now, because all of a sudden, Choc's team is looking like the only things that are really healthy after this offense turn are the Maraptor and the Tortanchor.
He does have to force the Squid Shield out first, yep, but there's not really much of an option not to.
Yeah, and I mean, again, this quick set Spitball will definitely knock out the Wottle now.
Yeah.
So it's a 50-50 here. Do you think the Dugout's getting attacked, or do you think the Wottle's getting attacked?
Well, that Wottle is leaving. That Wottle is out of there. It's that or give up the Wottle, which is like really pivotal.
But the Dugout
to this team.
does not get hit. With that said, that Maraptor takes a huge chunk of damage and is now at 26. Choc only has one healthy beastie left.
I expect that Squid is going to sack, but it's done so much work already.
Yeah, I mean, Choc's in a position that's going to be really hard to recover here. I think if he gets this turn incredibly right, it's probably great for him. If this Squimage stays in and takes this power sap, that's fantastic. Choc loves that. But with that said, there's always the chance of that Bandicraft or that Daredillo coming in here. But no, we see the Squimage go down, so it's 1-1 in the game, evened up. This Dugout, though, is going to be drained, and with the noisy Maraptor, it's going to pretty much automatically go down to any attack Igor wants to throw at it here. And there's only the Tortanchor to tag in. That Wottle will be tagging in into the back row, so it won't have that boost from Shy. It won't have the defense boost. The Demolipede is on 8 stamina, which is nothing, and the Dugout's going to be drained.
Yeah, that sure was a series of reads.
Igor just...
So there's the Dugout out for 8 turns. We saw that put a huge damper on Choc's offensive potential for a while in an earlier match there.
Yeah, this counter from the front row will knock out the Maraptor, so Choc has to consider whether he wants to shield or not. And
I think it's pretty safe for Igor to move up and hit into the Dugout spot now.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing that happens is this Daredillo, if it scores the point here, just wins on serve. Maraptor goes down here, and now it's a 50-50. Like, Igor is up 2-1 and gets it right. And wins the finals.
There is our champion of Prepared League Season 1.
Igor is the champion of the first season of Prepared Attack. Perhaps an unlikely one with a 6-4 record in the regular season. And yet just makes this huge run in playoffs and takes the whole thing, which is super impressive. We'll have an interview with him in a moment. That was such a long match. Oh my word. Wow.
Those were great games.
Choc giving a round of applause here. And yeah, we'll have an interview with Igor in just a moment. All right. Choc's stream is all set, so we're just gonna hop right back over here to the final screen, and we'll be with Igor for an interview in a moment. Igor is getting a drink of water, And with a drink water redeem in chat, please make sure you are drinking some water. Choc commenting that he got mega greedy in that last game there. Hello, Igor, and congratulations for winning the first season of Prepared Attack.
Hello, thank you. Oh my god, these matches were amazing.
Those were crazy games. So some of the bouncing back from really horrible situations was incredible.
Yeah, very back and forth matches. Who the winner was uncertain, like almost at all times.
Yeah, until the very end there, when you finally got Choc just a little too pinned. Like, it was just like, those were some really slow-paced games, and I mean, we were commenting a couple times throughout the match just how many turns there were where it wasn't really entirely clear what either of you should do. So I guess, what were your thoughts while playing these games? Like, did you have like long-term game plans throughout? Or was it just more of a turn-by-turn thing?
I had long-term game plan if the Duggout and the Wottle were both active. In that case, my game plan was to deny Choc to be able to quick set and super commit.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw you
possible.
click Tornado Ball and Spitball so frequently throughout the match just to prevent that exact scenario from happening.
Yeah, when that scenario was happening, I decided to just play it slow and not try to go full offensive, because I think only Wottle and Bongus could survive a super commit from the Duggout of the net, and if it was jazzed, I think only Wottle survived. So I decided to just play it slow, but other than that, I decided to go a bit more on the offense when the other BCs were on the field. Or if my water was starting to get low, or my bench was also starting to get low EGP, I started playing a little bit slower as well to slowly heal with welcoming and deep breath.
Yeah, I mean, that deep breath on Wottle is, I feel like, a move that we almost never see run on that beastie, yet it was so impactful for you throughout the match here. I mean, what were your thoughts behind bringing it? And I mean, really, all the rest of your team.
So the thought about the deep breath Wottle, so since Choc has a lot of net pressure, Choc team has a lot of net pressure with the Wottle, the Tortanchor with Captain. So I had to dispute the net pressure, and I was thinking, okay, how do I do that? And deep breath on Wottle was an idea I had, because if you hit the Wottle to try and get it low EGP so I can't use it as net pressure anymore, I can quick set and deep breath so I heal most of the EGP back. So I want to make Wottle undesirable to be hit as much as I could, and I also comboed that with counter Daredillo and zigzag Bandicraft. So if you hit the Wottle, I heal up and get a quick set, but if you do not hit the Wottle, I get counter Daredillo quick set and full power zigzag with quick set as well.
Yeah, and I mean, that was definitely a pretty similar game plan to some other matches you had throughout the season. Whether it be this match or others, with like, especially with your Supilero, with Forager being able to basically shrug off most damage that comes its way. Playing you, as I got the pleasure of doing in semifinals and also during the regular season, is always like a guessing game of, okay, who's better to hit here? And it definitely showed in this match. And I mean, you made some fantastic reads in game 4, especially, that just put you in such a good position.
Yeah, the I think all the matches were simply amazing, and yeah, I was just trying my best to use both my offense and the healing. And one thing I always liked to do with this team is one thing you mentioned it, always make my opponent have a guessing game who to hit. I always think, okay, I need to get as much action economy or as much progress as possible, regardless of who my opponent hits. So okay, you could hit the Bongus, but what if it has Torch Pass? Or you could hit the Supilero, but it just heals back full the HP if I tag it out again.
Yeah, so I mean, how do you land on the 5 particular beasties you brought this week? Obviously, having the Bandicraft and Bongus for supporting the Wottle, but were there like particular reasons you didn't bring the Supilero this time around, or obviously the Webbounce is a
I'm really
Webbounce,
interested
but
in what the reasoning was behind Mimicry Squimage, because that's a
that
rare
too.
pick in PvP.
Oh, the Mimic Squimage. So the reasoning behind Squimage, it was because I just really wanted to bring it to the finals.
Hell yeah!
I heard this in advance and actually cut it out of our semifinal interview because I didn't want to spoil it.
It's like I want to use Squimage in the finals, and that was the whole reasoning behind Squimage. It was just that.
But the Spitball was doing a huge amount of work.
Oh yeah, the Spitball, and also one thing I realized is that Squimage plus Bandicraft makes an amazing duo because Mimic can copy Dump or Roll Shot, so I can get powerful sideways attacks.
Yeah,
if
indeed.
Squimage has Bandicraft by its side. So the whole Squimage, I just wanted to bring it because yes. And I did not bring the Supilero this time because it was either Supilero or the Daredillo. Because I could not fit Supilero in the team. So I decided, okay, there will be no Supilero here. So I gotta try my best to not be overwhelmed by damage on Choc's team. So I decided to bring Bongus for healing. It does everything. Bongus for healing, the Bandicraft as both as a offensive support. The full focus and demanding set are just amazing. And then the Wottle to combo with both with Daredillo and the Bandicraft. And the Daredillo because Acrobat would really help me against the Duggout and other beasties if I had to hard tag in due to Acrobat.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it definitely showed because of how slow those games played that having that Daredillo around for the threat of damage was incredibly impactful on like the way Choc had to play throughout the match, just with both of those threats between the Bandicraft and the Daredillo. Supilero, of course, while able to be a decent attacker with Confident, which you brought a couple times throughout the season, not able to output damage the same way Daredillo is. But there was one other thing I wanted to talk about a bit, which was the fact that your Squimage for so much of that match, other than the first couple serves where it copied Wallbreaker, was copying Shy, and its damage just wasn't as much because since you relied so much on having it in the front row, its damage output was nerfed. So what were you thinking about while playing around that little hitch in your plan?
So when I realized, okay, I'm copying Shy. Wait, I could use that in a different way, and I started, I think, Game 4 mostly now, where I spammed Spitball at the net.
Yes.
I swapped the Squimage in front of the Wottle to copy Shy on purpose, because I said, okay, I don't do much damage, but I can use the Squimage as some sort of support beastie. And if I ever need damage, I could tag in Bandicraft on the other slot and use a demanding set. So to play around the Shy, I decided, okay, I'm just gonna try and play Squimage as a support rather than mostly an attacker and just spend Spitball and maybe Roll Shot.
The conscious support Squimage is amazing. It's one of my favorites now.
One thing, I was very scared this match. I was very scared of the Demolipede. That thing was so scary.
Yeah, I mean, especially in, I forget which game it was, but maybe it was even just like the start of game 4. It's like the amount of damage that thing was outputting was a little bit ludicrous. But you managed, I mean, you got it down to 8 stamina and then it just never hit the field again. So I guess well done for that.
Oh, yeah, the combination of Frazzle and Sidewinder, it was very tricky to go past that in the first couple games.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw in game 3, I think you basically both of the first 2 points you won by knocking it out. So that basically, when Sideways is the most threatening, tends to be immediately after a serve. But since you won both of those points by wiping the Demolipede, you suddenly didn't have to worry about that Sideways anymore, which I think really showed with how you were able to push through game 3 in particular.
Yeah, with the Sideways not being an option anymore, it indeed really helped me start to play more offensively, and I could focus more on just not letting the Duggout one hit my beasties.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there were some calcs, like the fact that I think there were some points where it's just like nothing survives this super commit in the front row after the quick set, because it's just that powerful. And I mean, you played around it beautifully throughout pretty much every single one of these games. You let it hit the field a couple times, but it was never really at a point where it was like threatening to take the game. At least never when it mattered too much. So yeah, I mean, overall, fantastic play. And hey, this is the end of the season. You won the whole thing. Next season is going to be in a few months. Not sure when yet, but I guess overall, thanks for being a part of this, and thanks for giving your thoughts on everything, so that the people watching can understand what it takes to win one of these draft leagues.
Yeah, congrats,
Cool.
GG.
Oh, thank you, and I thank you guys as well for organizing this whole thing. It's been an amazing experience, and you guys did a great job with this.
It was
Thank
all
you so
hello,
much.
I'm just here.
Hey, you did a lot of like people wrangling, which was very helpful. Either way, thank you so much, Igor. We'll let you go get some rest, and talk to Choc real quick about his prep, because I'm interested to hear his thoughts as well.
All right. See ya, guys. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Yes, you as well.
Just a sec while we get Choc in here.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, and good games.
Thank you.
Second
GG.
place, not bad.
Second place. I'll take it.
Those
It's
were
better
some
than I thought I was
close-ass
going to do this
games,
season.
too.
Yeah. Game 4, I got really greedy. Igor was pretty much always choosing the risk-averse play. His team was definitely set up to take advantage of that. So it was like genuinely throwing almost what I did. Because I was like, okay, I see a kill on the Wottle. Maybe I'll get away with it. Oh, I didn't get away with it. Okay, I have him stacked up. Surely he won't switch in the Wottle and he'll just let this point go. Oh, he didn't. But other than that, so I wish I played game 4 a little differently just because I think it was too greedy. But otherwise, I thought it was a really good set. And honestly, I think I burnt out too. It was a long set, and I don't think I've ever really played a long set like that before. So he definitely outlasted me. So big GGs to him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess quick questions, like what were you thinking about in terms of prep, and what was that one move you were really scared of? Because I'm incredibly curious.
So the answer that I didn't know was actually Bandicraft roll shot, because I was expecting dump, but of course, why would you bring dump? Because I'm Wottle, I want to get to the front row, my team wants to get to the front row anyways, right? But the actual answer that I was thinking was Rocket Daredillo, because Rocket has more damage on Wottle if it's in the front row because it inverses with Shy, and because I was set up to get roaring going, it would ignore the roaring, and then I wouldn't be able, because the whole point was I'd be able to do like roaring double clear field, but I was just never able to get myself into a position where I could get a block and then double clear field, or like a double block and then double clear field. And unfortunately I switched off last minute. I switched Hog to shield because I wanted the super commit to not be its demise, and it turned out to be its demise anyways. But otherwise that was going to be calming aura, so I had two options to like really stick the Maraptor there, which is what the call out was for too. The other big thing was I was pretty dead set on Wottle, Hog, Maraptor, and Tort for this match, and the last slot was a huge toss-up for me between Demo and Zefyre. And the idea with Zefyre was if I get a Roaring proc, I can switch the Zefyre in for free and get a Blaze Air Blast.
Oh, very fun.
Igor was actually concerned about that very thing earlier.
Yeah. And the thing was, I planned like my team is halfway burst damage with the Hog and then halfway trying to outlast by getting the Maraptor into position. And I really wanted that to work, but because of the way Igor's team is set up, I can't win, or like I'm struggling to keep up the pacing in the healing race just because welcoming Bongus plus Clearfield is more than just my one Clearfield plus a Power Sap, right? But if I had Zefyre, then I have two ways to really punch through, and the way I have to beat Igor's team is not a war of attrition. I have to like get the burst damage going. So very well played to him. I think I just need to bring a little more firepower, and it probably would have done me well too, because I think I wasn't prepared for the long set. So I needed to make a faster paced team to accommodate the fact that I wouldn't be able to keep up in the long run, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, something we noted is that neither team really had any ramp at all. So, I mean, those first 3 matches took, I think, an average of about 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. They were long ones. So that was good, though. Yeah, I think the one misplay that I think is going to stick in my mind from this was actually at the end of game 3, where I had it was the Wottle switched in for the Bongus. The Bongus welcoming gave it enough HP to survive the quick set demo from the Demolipede, which is what enabled the quick set onto the Bandy. I correctly identified that Wottle was the win condition because the Jazzed would ignore the whatchamacallit, right? The defense buffs I had. Yeah, the call-out boost, right? So I was thinking like I could get, like if I go for clear fields and I don't get the damage I need, then the Jazz will seal it anyways. So what I should have done is I could have done the same thing, but then Sidewinder the back row, or heal up and Sidewinder the back row. And what that would do is it would force the Bandicraft behind the Wottle, and then the Bandicraft can't get jazzed because it has to it could get jazzed from the back row actually. So, but I could still like get a switch. But the important thing is I wouldn't be able to get a roll shot, so I could switch in the Hog and then pressure, and then it's still not over from there, but like I have a shot, right? Whereas I put myself into a really dangerous 50-50 that I probably couldn't survive after anyways by just getting greedy. So I got super greedy towards the end. I don't want to say I lost patience, but I definitely think Igor outlasted me. So it was a long game I wasn't ready for.
I do want to ask one question about the team building, though, which is because a lot of people who play standard PvP outside of draft formats probably don't see Callout all that often. So what were your thoughts behind bringing it here? Was it intended to always be boosting the Wottle? Because that's what happened in-game, but...
So I was anticipating it was actually going to be Diabloceras instead of Squimage with Cyclone, which actually made the strategy even harder.
Sure.
But the idea is... the Wottle was probably pressuring with Tornado Ball, so I bring Shield on Maraptor to stop the Tornado Ball from pushing out, and then I get one call-out boost on Maraptor, and then I get the Wottle in next to it, and I can do double clear field plus power sap to get 30 HP back on the Maraptor while healing up my entire bench, while everything's forced to target the Maraptor, so I'm guaranteed 2 clear fields as long as I guess the correct block target. So it was an interesting idea. Yeah, I thought of it and I theory crafted it and I wanted it to work. And maybe this wasn't the matchup to really try to make that work.
Quickset was a little rough into that, wasn't it?
Yeah. The trait dance also on the Maraptor was specifically because I thought the Supilero was coming, and it was like, if it's confident, I give myself an attack and defense buff, which is great. And if it is Forager, I give myself 50 HP to switch in, which is great. But I figured the Bongus was definitely going to be there, so stealing Welcoming was always good, and I did get some mileage out of that as well, but not as much as I would have if I got like late traps instead.
Yeah,
So,
I think sometimes
was pretty hype.
We saw you steal Welcoming multiple times, but it always felt like the tag-in that would do the most healing wasn't necessarily the best tag-in for your positioning, I think. Which was a little bit rough.
It ended up being more about denying his Welcoming because I never really had a good way to take advantage of it. I just kind of burned it, right? What was the other thing? Team building wise, yeah. So I was really close on the demo in the Zefyre. I actually built an entire second team that I didn't end up using. That was centered around Zefyre with flight, and it would be a Blaze Flight Zefyre. And the whole idea was bird assassin. You get the bird assassin in, it does the big air blast, it kills something, and then it leaves. And then try to do that 3 times, but I ended up going with this one instead. The worst, I think, decision I made from a team building perspective was actually not putting Set on Tortanchor. Set is like a mainstay I've had throughout this draft league. And there were so many turns, especially in like the first game and second game, where I had Tort in the back and there was no reason to target it, and I could always just get like a free set for more damage because Igor was targeting the thing in front instead, and I would have just gotten, I don't know, like 50% more damage on several attacks over the course of the game. Like I still got mileage out of call out, but I think if I didn't try to make this strategy really work, I could have just ignored call out both times and then still had like a semi strategy and then had more punch, which is what I really needed.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, you put up a real good fight, especially in those first 3 games. They felt like they could go pretty much either way, and I mean, in the case of game 2, it did. So, yeah, I mean, congratulations on making it this far, because getting into finals in a league that was this competitive is really something to be proud of.
This league was stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, especially considering you've basically, I think you mentioned, only been playing for like PvP for a few months now, right?
Yeah, my first, I think, was the August Bash, was my first. So I played very little of the previous patch, and I came into this patch pretty fresh, and
just joined this league and went 9-1 in the regular season.
Yeah.
Hello?
So here's the thing, though. If you watch my first 4 matches, actually my match against you was pretty one-sided for me, but that was because you team built something really fun and it happened to be in my favor. But for like the other 3 of the first 4, the other 3 of the first 4 matches were last game, last round, last hit, like my Reverie game. I had a wiped Beastie, and I had to switch in the not white Beastie, and I survived because they didn't guess the white Beastie target, they guessed the other one, and then I put the Wottle in the front, and then the Wottle was just tanky enough to survive so that it could switch and stabilize. But that was like the closest game I had to losing that I won, was that round 1.
And you can go watch that on Choc's YouTube, which I have linked in the chat and will put in the description.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do for this match. The replays are saved, even though I did have to reset my game.
Yeah.
But I took off OBS because I hope the quality was still okay for the stream. It was a little choppy. Because I thought that was interfering. Okay.
We noticed it a couple times, but other than that, it doesn't really matter. We're happy to have game footage, which is better than no game footage.
Yep. Yeah, so I might I don't know if I'm going to do like a watch the Twitch VOD and commentate, or if I'm going to just do the replays and commentate, but I was thinking I might do something like that just to have something posted, just because I've been so consistent with posting all the videos. That's like, oh, the finals is the one that,
oh no,
that I botched.
the most important one.
Yep.
Either way, thank you so much. It's been such a joy having you in this league. And I mean, watching your content week to week has been really fun. I love hearing how you think about playing this game because you're so efficient with it.
Thank you. Very much appreciate
again, congratulations on a really impressive season. And thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for hosting the season. I guess just waiting for Draft League Part 2.
Yeah, it'll probably be a few months because I think everyone really needs a break and we're not ready to start on this current patch, but
I need a few months too. My brain's turned into a hamster wheel thinking about Draft League every week. I gotta chill.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Next season is going to be a little bit shorter.
Yep.
And we'll be bringing that to you sometime in 2026 for sure.
Nice. Yeah, other than that, I now have to train my brain to stop trying to make Wottle teams and quickset teams, because that's all I know how to build now.
Well, when it works.
Yeah, right, if it ain't broke.
Pretty much.
I appreciate the shout out to the YouTube. Sorry I couldn't commentate in chat. I actually don't have my phone set up, my phone validated to my Twitch account, so I tried typing. I was like, oh, I can't.
Yeah, no
I'm not
worries,
going to try to
worries.
figure it out now. But
All right. Well, have a great rest of your night.
Thank you so much. You as well. Appreciate you guys for hosting.
All right. And to everyone watching, thank you so much for sticking around. Skarme, any last thoughts? I'm tired.
Beastieball. Beastieball is my last
That's so true. If you're still in chat and you are not a Beastieball player and you do not own this game, as of when I am saying this, it is currently 15% off in the Steam Winter Sale. What are you waiting for, honestly?
It is worth every cent.
It is worth every cent and more. So many of the people that were on stream today, I don't claim to know everyone's playtime, but I mean, mine is over 800 hours. So, like, in a year, that says a lot. This game means a lot, so much to all of us. And thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching on Twitch or YouTube, wherever you are. Consider dropping a follow if you want to see some more PvP content from me. Hop over to the Wishes Unlimited Discord to see when there are more tournaments going on, and I can also...
We may have big plans in the new year.
Yes, I can also paste into Twitch chat. YouTube will not get this because I don't want an existing link for ages. Join the Prepared Attack Discord to find out updates on whenever the next season is going to happen. So that's that Discord link I just put in chat 30 seconds ago, because I forgot there was a stream delay while saying that. But either way, thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you for running this, Hello.
Of course.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining me on commentary. Your insight is always so wonderful.
It's 2 a.m.
It's 2 a.m.
Sleep-deprived.
You need to go get some sleep. I need to stop talking because my voice is tired. Thank you all for watching.
Everyone.